with Lamina coming in for Doyle. So Sarr in goal, a back three of Totti, Santiago Bueno, Craig Dawson, Semedo and Aït-Nouri are the wing backs, João Gomez, Lamina, Cunha, Sarabia and Strand Larsen in the Wolves gold and the black shorts. And for Southampton, Ramsdale in goal, a back three of Stevens, Harwood, Bellis, his first call up to the England squad during the week, of course, Bednarek, Walker-Peters and Manning as we're underway. Now Aribo, Fernandez, Lallana, Armstrong and Archer. What a huge game down at the bottom of the Premier League as Wolves are defending what is now the Sir Jack Hayward stand, the old South Bank away towards our right. They're playing from right to left, and Southampton in their red and white striped shirts and black shorts from left to right. Huge game, Paul Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a team change forced on Russell Martin late in the day that he won't want to have had to do, upset his team preparation. We expected Southampton to line up in a back five, but actually whether it was forced upon him or not, it looks like they're lining up with a back four at the start of play, and it's Ryan Manning who's going to be the one that pushes into midfield. Kyle Walker-Peters will make up the right back, and Manning's going to be allowed to drift into that midfield area to play alongside Fernandez, Aribo and Lallana.
Cunha plays the ball forward, Strand Larsen will give it him back, tussles with it, back heels it then to Aït-Nouri, stroke back by Aït-Nouri to Totti. The two managers, Gary O'Neill and Russell Martin, two teammates from their days at Norwich City where they were promoted to the Premier League, the playoffs when they beat Middlesbrough in the final and then relegated the following season. And both have been under scrutiny, both have had to deal with pressure. Russell Martin, of course, got that first win last weekend. Along with Ipswich, Wolves are still looking to get off the mark as Lamina will play the ball forward and it's given back to him. Craig Dawson, central figure of that back three. Totti on the stretch, being closed by Adam Armstrong. Back towards Dawson, turns away from Archer and the ball is hit down the line. Header away by Walker-Peters, goes straight to Cunha. Aït-Nouri is bombing ahead of him. Cunha though running, threads it forward now, and this is an opportunity that is taken. Sarabia rounds the goalkeeper, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have got off to the best start that Gary O'Neill could have wished for. Cunha was direct, Sarabia was composed, Wolves lead by a goal to nil.
It's a brilliant start from Wolves, so direct by Matheus Cunha. Gets the ball halfway into the Southampton half. Everybody backs off him. Harwood, Bellis, Bednarek, Stevens. Everyone takes a backward step. Nobody goes near Cunha. He just keeps on going, keeps on travelling. And you expect that he's going to play it into the path of Aït-Nouri, who's made a great run round the outside of him. But he doesn't. He holds on. He looks like he's held on too long. But it's Pablo Sarabia that's holding his run. Keeps it just onside. Ramsdale rushes out, touch round the goalkeeper, taps into an empty net. What a fantastic start for Gary O'Neill and Wolves.
1 minute 48 seconds that goal was timed at, and the 32-year-old Spaniard with his first goal of the season. It couldn't have come at a better time. Mind you, in saying that, not one that I'm trying to dampen the mood of any Wolverhampton Wanderers fans listening. When they have scored first this season, they've lost all three: Newcastle, Aston Villa and Manchester City, so they'll need to buck the trend. But certainly Gary O'Neill will be absolutely delighted. 1-0.
Couldn't have asked for a better start from his team, could he? I mean, it was really clear what the intent was as soon as the turnover possession. Matheus Cunha got the ball. He ran straight at the heart of the Southampton defence, who just kept backing off and backing off. And the runs from Sarabia and Aït-Nouri were excellent. Found Sarabia. It was a really good finish because Aaron Ramsdale was rushing out of his goal to narrow the angle. One touch around the goalkeeper into an empty net.
Well, the Wolves chairman is here, Jeff Shee here today, and also Ruben Neves as well, who I think is in an executive box towards our right, quite close to the Sir Jack Hayward stand. He's been serenaded by the Wolves supporters at that end of the field because there is a buoyancy around this place, leading 1-0 against Southampton down at the bottom.
I think the atmosphere could have been very different, couldn't it, had that goal gone the other way. We know the nervousness around both sets of supporters, and actually if Wolves had gone 1-0 down here, the atmosphere could have been very, very different. I think that's a crucial goal for the whole team.
Just settles the nerves and calms everybody down, doesn't it? MK Dons 0, Swindon Town 1 is the latest score in League 2, as we welcome listeners to the BBC World Service to here at Molineux, where Wolverhampton Wanderers are already leading by a goal to nil. So wherever you are in the world, always a pleasure to have your company here on BBC Radio 5 Live. And with 5 Live, announcing during the week that from next season, even more Premier League commentaries than ever before for the next 4 seasons. Then if you are continuing to listen to the World Service, we hope that that continues too. As Fernandes will run forward on that far side, glides away from one challenge, threads the ball forward. Manning is ahead of him on that far side, the left, but well closed down by Semedo. Out it goes to a Southampton corner kick as they trail by a goal to nil.
Does well, Fernandes. Manning excellent on the outside of him, gets the overlap in. Looks like he's going to put it across, but it ends up in a good block in the right back position by Nelson Semedo. Southampton have reacted well since they've conceded the goal. They've had all the possession and now they've gone up the other end, they've got themselves a corner.
So it's a corner kick to Southampton, far side the left. There is a player down, it's Sarabia, who's sat down just on the edge of the penalty area. Thomas Bramall, the referee, is calling on the 2 physios. So there's going to be a stoppage in play. There's a real chill in the air, isn't there, here today?
It's cold, isn't it? It's certainly turned. It's definitely winter now. The heated gilet coming out next week, is it, Mr. Dennis?
Possibly, it might have to.
We're just getting to see a replay of that goal as well. It was a turnover possession. Matheus Cunha, he's so quick on the turnover. Sarabia's running behind. It was excellently timed, and the weight of the pass into his stride made it so easy for him. But it looks like Sarabia, in scoring that goal, he's got a calf problem because he's gone down. There's nobody around him. The physios and doctors have come on, but he's got his sock down, and it's his right calf that they're treating. Yeah,
they're just applying the red heat, and massaging that calf muscle at the moment. So the stoppage continues. It means we can nip to West Ham and Chris Coles.
0-0, West Ham, Everton. This game hasn't really got going because of a couple of stoppages here as well. Both Lucas Paquetá and Mikel Antonio receiving treatment. Both are fine to continue. Everton with the first shot. Idrissa Gueye's hopeful right foot shot from the edge of the area. A long way wide. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Let's get, before the corner, Henry at Crystal Palace. Henry Moran.
Palace 0, Fulham 0. Lively start this. Mateta with an opportunity but got his feet in all sorts of a tangle. Couldn't finish, and Raul Jimenez has just fired wide for Fulham. Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Sarabia is on his feet. He's been led over towards the far side. He'll have to be off the field for at least 30 seconds. So the corner kick's going to come in on that far side, the left. He might not continue though. Bellegarde might be coming on for Wolves. Southampton with the corner, doesn't beat the first man. Headed out as far as Lallana. Time to play the ball back in towards the far post. Headed behind by Totti for a corner kick to Southampton on this near side, the right. Paul.
I think that goal's just set us up for a really good game. I think it could have been nervy, it could have been cagey. Both sets of players just feeling each other out, but with that goal now, Southampton have come out immediately, started playing. Wolves have dropped deep, won 2 corners in quick succession, and Sarabia still off the field at the far side.
He wants to come back onto the field of play. Now he's allowed to do so. So they're back up to their full quota, are Wolves. Every Wolves shirt inside their penalty area as we look towards our right. Manning to take the corner. It's not an in-swinger, he's rolled it short to Lallana. Flicks it back to Manning, plays it to the edge of the area. Armstrong hits it first time right-footed, wide of the right-hand post, and it goes out for a goal kick. It was a well-worked routine.
Really worked, really well worked. Corner, we see all the set plays now and the set play coaches, and every week we're getting treated to different variations. That was good interchange by Manning and Lallana. Armstrong pulls himself away onto the edge of the box, gets a clean strike, whistles wide of the left-hand upright of Jose Sarr.
Didn't necessarily mean to upset any Wolves fans when I gave that statistic. When they've scored first in 3, they've lost all 3, so I'll level it up. When Southampton have conceded first in 6 this season, they've lost all 6. As Fleetwood Town are leading Bradford City by a goal to 0 in League 2, and a goal at Derby in the Championship, Shojo Saka.
Derby 1, Plymouth 0. First chance of this game from a corner. It came to Jerry Yates, and it was one of the most purest overhead kick goals you will see. Brilliant, brilliant finish. Derby 1, Plymouth 0.
Wolves are leading here by a goal to 0, and that is a foul over on that far side from the Southampton player Matheus Fernandes, who just barged into the back of the birthday boy Santiago Bueno, who's 26 today.
He wasn't going anywhere there. It was a silly foul to give away from a Southampton point of view. Bueno was running away from goal. He was in trouble. He was in his own corner flag, if you like, and it was just an easy foul. He probably bought the foul. Did well for his team.
The goal has been rounded up now to 1 minute 49 seconds for Wolves from Sarabia, giving them the lead as the ball goes long. Bednarek cushions his header out towards that far side. Manning will stroke it back. They play it back to Ramsdale. Got a recall to the England squad during the week in his all-purple goalkeeping outfit, and that clearance goes straight out of play for a Wolves throw. But you're right about the atmosphere. You know, there could have been a real edge to today's proceedings. However, with Wolves leading 1-0, there is certainly more of a relaxed feel, as we'll go to Twickenham and Chris Jones.
Well, England missed the golden opportunity to beat New Zealand this time last week, so a win this afternoon against Australia feels essential. A packed out Twickenham expectant. The Wallabies about to receive the kick-off from Marcus Smith, and referee Ben O'Keefe any moment now will give us the word to go to work. England against Australia underway any minute now, Ian.
And commentary is on Sports Extra. Thanks, Chris. You haven't missed anything whilst we were away at the rugby. Bednarek plays it out towards Manning, controls the ball. Wolves have dropped off, everybody behind the ball. Southampton just passing the ball neatly in the midfield at the moment. And here is Lallana. He was a slight doubt coming into this game with a groin issue. Walker-Peters, Armstrong, playing the ball neatly, but then being forced back. Brentford-Bournemouth, John Southall.
Really good start by Bournemouth. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 0. We've just seen Semenyo cutting in from the right-hand side. Good save by Flecken, though, down to his right. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 0.
Still goalless here as Lallana collects it, then gives it to Bednarek, the Polish international. Then to Harwood Bellis, Walker-Peters, Russell Martin on the edge of that technical area, watching on as Walker-Peters tries to get away from Aït-Nouri, but he tracks him all the way into the centre circle and passes the ball out wide to the left. Back to West Ham, Chris Coles.
West Ham 0, Everton 0. Everton with the first chance of the game on the counter-attack. Rare Bowen pass that was short. Gay picked it up, played it to Decore, shot was well blocked. Calvert-Lewin volleyed the rebound over. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Walker-Peters joins the attack, sends over a cross, reaches on that far side. It's teed up for Fernandez. His shot down into the ground. They're appealed for a penalty. The ball is rifled in the meantime by Manning. And Southampton have equalised, and Ryan Manning with his first goal for the club rifled the ball left-footed, gave Jose Sarr no chance, and we're back level, 1-1.
Well, he's absolutely smashed that into the top corner of Jose Sarr's net. There was a little melee in the Wolverhampton Wanderers box. Nelson Semedo's still down. The Wolves players are hopefully claiming a free kick, but more in hope than expectation. It was a brilliant ball in from the right-hand side from Walker-Peters. It eludes everybody, gets flicked onto the far post, and it initially falls to Manning. Just can't get the ball out of his feet, so he pulls it back. There's a goalmouth scramble where Nelson Semedo feels he's fouled. But Ryan Manning, he wasn't hanging around. The ball popped out to him on the angle, just inside the 6-yard box. First touch out of his feet, and he absolutely smashes this across Jose Sarr. The pace and the power that's hit with. Goalkeeper no chance from such close range.
If anything, you know, rather than Wolves, well, VAR are looking at for a possible foul. But actually, that coming together, Semedo and Fernandez, there was a Southampton player in the box before Manning's lashed it in. They were actually looking for a penalty, Southampton.
Well, looking at it there first hand on the replay, the coming together between Semedo and Fernandez, it would be Southampton that were looking for the penalty, not Semedo, who's looking for a free kick. The referee has been sent over to the screen, though, because there is a fair bit to sort out. There's 2 or 3 incidents in the build-up to this goal. VAR have obviously seen something, the replays that we haven't. They've immediately sent the referee over to the screen, and it's going to take a while to unpack this.
Well, Chris Kavanagh is the VAR at Stockley Park. He's instructed Thomas Bramall, his first Premier League game of the season, to go and have a little look as to whether there was a foul. Fernandez on Semedo. Now, is the referee going to go with his instinct? Is he going to go with the referee's call, or is he going to follow the instruction of VAR? He's having a look at the monitor now. He's clearly been talked through the whole process, and this is going to be the decision. And the goal does not stand. And we're back at 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The goal has been ruled out for a foul. Fernandez on Semedo.
Yeah, well, we're looking at the replays now. We were looking over the referee's shoulder at the replay, and it's Fernandez who does come clattering into Semedo. It looked like a coming together. Neither player looked as though they were looking at the other one, if that makes sense. They were looking at the ball. It was a coming together and it was a clash. but actually Fernandes has stopped Semedo getting to the ball. It looks like a completely accidental clash, but Semedo has been stopped getting to the ball by Fernandes clattering into him. It's a harsh one. Russell Martin now, he's in the ear of the fourth official. We can see him below us. He's far from happy.
Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1. That's fourth versus third in League Two. So Notts County, who've taken the lead there in South Yorkshire, and Wycombe Wanderers, who are going great. The League One leaders are ahead at Wigan Athletic by 1-0, looking for a 7th straight win in all competitions. Lamina now is forward. Shot charged down, falls to Cunha, hits it first time, blocked from Walker-Peters. So Wolves are leading Southampton 1-0. João Gomes looked towards Cunha on this near side. Adam Armstrong with the clearance, only back towards João Gomes, tries to win it back. Well, we've certainly had an interesting opening quarter of an hour. Wolves leading 1-0 and Southampton have had a goal disallowed.
What's a great start to the game. I mean, we were worried whether this would be a cagey game, both teams trying to feel one another out, neither wanted to concede, but that early goal has done us a favour. It's a really open game, the split between the defence and attack, both teams looking to play forward, playing the right way, not necessarily been able to string moves and passes together. The turnover of possession is happening quite often, but as you say, this far, 15 minutes, it's a cracker.
Wolverhampton Wanderers looking for their first clean sheet in 23, as they're on the attack now with Aït-Nouri. He's done well, flicks it out to Sarabia, showing no ill effects of that calf injury now. Back towards Aït-Nouri, first time cross, and it required Manning on the cover, the left wing back, to tuck in a central area to get it to safety.
Yeah, this is end to end now, and Aït-Nouri's making those long bursting runs into the box like we see. He's not even looking, the ball comes to him and he whips it across the face of the goal with his left foot. Manning gets across and defends well, but it really is end to end.
Attacking that steep, towering, two-tiered Stan Cullis stand. Wolverhampton Wanderers playing from right to left. Let's get news of that Notts County goal from Naz Premji.
Yeah, crossing from the left-hand side. Alassane Jeddah free in the box, free header 6 yards out. Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1.
And I mentioned that Wycombe had taken the lead at Wigan. Betty Glover.
It is Wycombe leading 1-0. Dan Harvey whipped in a corner. Joe Lowe got the highest and headed the ball into the top far corner. Easy as you like. Wigan 0, Wycombe 1.
Wolves lead here by 1-0. A goal at Brentford now. John Southall.
And Bournemouth have the lead. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 1. Terrible mistake by Brentford. Vanderberg gave the ball away to Evan Nielsen. He went round the goalkeeper and slotted it in. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 1.
Ball over the top from Lamina to Cunha. It was offside. It'll be a free kick to Southampton as they trail by 1-0. Try for England in the rugby. Chris Jones.
It's only taken 5 minutes. Magnificent England try as well. Marcus Smith's grubber kick found Ollie Lawrence, and then some excellent handling from the forwards led to Chandler. Cunningham South diving over. England 5, Australia 0.
This is the first of 6 Premier League commentaries that we've got for you this weekend. We've got Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City to follow. Sports Report at 5:30. Down at the bottom, Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are yet to win in Premier League history. 18 teams have had to wait over 10 games for their first win. Only on 5 occasions have they survived. Newcastle United the last in 21-22. They had to wait 15 matches for their first win on that particular campaign. They ended up finishing 11th. Southampton are on the attack here. Here is Fernandes, edge of the area, out towards Manning. Cross first time. Little flick by Lamina, deceived everybody actually, because Aribo, had he been aware, might have picked that up inside the penalty area, as there's a goal on Wearside. John Bennett in the Championship.
Top of the table, Sunderland 1, Coventry City 0. Brilliant volley by Wilson Isidore, cross from the left-hand side, and it looped into the back of the net. Sunderland 1, managerless Coventry 0.
Norwich City 0, Bristol City 1 is the latest score in the Championship as well. And in fact, there's been a goal at Ellen Road. Julia Bold.
It's now Leeds 1, QPR 0, and it's been coming because QPR struggling to get out their own half. Jayden Bogle, the man to score. Leeds 1, QPR 0.
A typical busy Saturday afternoon as Fernandes passes the ball out of play. Wolves have a throw on that far side, the right, Paul Robinson.
It's a pleasure to sit here and watch your work, Dano. It's fantastic. But we have got a great game in front of us as well. I mean, mean, there's two teams here that are playing openly. They're looking to win the game. I mean, we criticise Southampton at times for overplaying. The interesting thing with Ryan Manning making the extra man in midfield, they hybrid at the back very quickly between a 5 and a 4. And it's Manning, he's the one that's allowed to drift into midfield. Kyle Walker-Peters drifts into more of an orthodox right-back position. And on 2 or 3 occasions today, Ryan Manning, yes, he's had his goal disallowed, but he's got himself in crossing positions and they've looked really dangerous down that left-hand side.
Ryan Manning, whose last goal was April 2023 for Swansea against Huddersfield, thought that he'd got his first goal for the club in his 46th appearance, however chalked off. Hibs 0, St Mirren 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. You're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and also available on the BBC Sounds app as Bednarek, left of the centre circle, just waits. Armstrong is on this near side, the right, quite high up for Southampton. As Paul Robinson quite rightly says, Manning is providing a lot of width on that far side, the left, and they're looking towards him every opportunity, linking up with Fernandes, and then he plays the ball back as then Southampton edge their way into Wolves territory with Bednarek. Harwood-Bellis, left of the centre circle, just inside his own half. Lallana to Archer. First time ball towards Aribo, but the interception from Ait-Nouri and Wolves have it. Mention that goal at Carrow Road. Details from Mark Webber.
It's Norwich 0, Bristol City 1, and Norwich year-long unbeaten league run under threat as Anis Mehmeti rolls the ball into the area and onto the right-hand side of the goal to make it Norwich 0, Bristol City 1.
Interesting as well, you mentioned Manning on the Southampton left, but Ait-Nouri looks to get forward, doesn't he, for Wolves? Very attack-minded.
He's one of the most attacking players that they've got. I mean, he scored 3 goals already this season, but he's a player that I really like. I mean, he doesn't shirk his defensive responsibilities either, but he makes these very, very clever runs in behind the defence and in field as well. Clever player.
Wolves lead 1-0. Adam Lallana wanted the referee to play the advantage, but both players have stayed down in that challenge on the far side. Strand Larsen is the Wolves player. Manning has just got to his feet, but that was the reason that Thomas Bramall was unable to play the advantage on that occasion. Larsen has stayed down. He's actually holding his right thigh at the moment.
He's done himself. It's a dead leg. He just hangs his leg out just in front of Manning, and Manning runs past him and sticks his knee right into the middle of Strand Larsen's thigh. Adding to the frustration for Southampton.
Motherwell have taken the lead at Fir Park against St Johnstone in the Scottish Premiership, 1-0, and Chesterfield 0, Accrington Stanley 1 is a latest score in League 2. Chesterfield unbeaten in 8, that's a surprise. As here is Ait-Nouri, passes the ball up towards Cunha, tries to get past Harwood-Bellis, who tugs him back. That'll be a yellow card for Harwood-Bellis. Penalty at Twickenham, Chris Jones.
England 5, Australia 3. Lolaseo putting the Wallabies on the board, but England should have scored their second try. Marcus Smith clean through. The forwards got white line fever. They do have a penalty. Will they go for goal, take the scrum, have a tap? We'll see. England 5, Australia 3. Entertaining stuff after 12.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Brentford, Bournemouth, John Southall.
0, Bournemouth 1, first chance for Brentford. Janel on the left, 16 yards out. Good strike straight at Kepa. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 1.
It was a straightforward yellow, really, wasn't it? Once Harwood-Bellis had done what he did.
It was done all ends up. I mean, it was so easy for Cunha. You could see Harwood-Bellis coming in behind him, whipped it round him, and he was away.
Cunha attacking for Wolves, left corner of the penalty area, enters the box now, tries to bulldoze his way through. Oh, that was a comedy of errors. The ball was ricocheting everywhere, and then there was an attempted clearance by Adam Armstrong that has caught Lallana full on in the face.
He won't thank his
absolutely
teammates for
floored
that.
him.
Oh dear, that was a real melee in the box. 2 or 3 players tried to clear it, and then Armstrong on the half volley. I mean, we're seeing it again on the replay. It's like for 3 or 4 yards away from him, he's put his foot right through a half volley. Paul Lallana's taken that full on his forehead.
He was actually done twice in the face as a cross from the corner is taken, in swinging, lost by Ramsdale, and the referee's spotted an infringement and blows his whistle. He was caught twice there by the most unfortunate of circumstances. One certainly for too good, too bad on Match of the Day 2. Try Chris Jones in the rugby.
Well, we wonder what England would do from that penalty. They did tap and go. Ellis Genge, nice hands, and Chandler Cunningham South has gone over for his second. They're just checking whether the grounding was clean. It looks okay, but we're just seeing whether the referee is going to allow this one. If he does, England will be 10-3 up. Chandler Cunningham South with 2, and the kick to come from Marcus Smith. But come back and we'll confirm whether this try is going to stand.
Sports Extra for the commentary of that. Walker-Peters for Southampton, cleared away by Wolves, who lead by a goal to nil. Bednarek has just clattered that from forward position of the centre circle right into the stand away towards our right, the Sir Jack Hayward stand, and that'll be a goal kick.
That's something more fitting to the rugby update, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's come charging in there. He's hoofed that from the halfway line. It's cleared Jose Sar's goal by a long way.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what "let's have it" in Polish is, but it was certainly one for a no-nonsense clearance from Bednarek. Wolves fans won't care about that because they're still leading by a goal to nil. The only goal in this game, despite that Southampton thought they'd equalised. Bournemouth, of course, are leading Brentford by a goal to nil. Crystal Palace, Fulham 0-0. West Ham against Everton is also goalless. Aït-Nouri forward on this near side, the left. We've been playing for 25 minutes on 5 Live. He waits and then passes the ball back to Dawson. Let's check in at St Andrews in League One. Pat Murphy.
It's 0-0 against Northampton. Predictable. Northampton getting all their players behind the ball, but they had the best chance. Guthrie, 1-on-1, 6 yards out. Superb save by Alsop, low to his right. Birmingham 0, Northampton 0.
Bromley are down to 10 men. Carl Jenkinson has been sent off as they're drawing away at Cheltenham in League 2. No other goals to tell you about elsewhere around the country. Walker-Peters keeps his balance, gets away from Cunha on this near side, the right, does a little step over, drives forward, and the challenge comes in. And it was a good challenge too by Totti, and behind for a corner kick to Southampton, who trail.
It had to be. Very, very good there. Carl Walker-Peters on the outside. Gets around the outside and he comes across Totti Gomez, times his challenge well, but again it's another set play for Southampton. It's been strange in a way, this game. Both teams have allowed the other one possession. When they surrender possession, they both drop off and get into a defensive shape very quickly, which you can see that they've worked on this week. I mean, conceding the goals has been a huge problem for both, and you can see the shape they both try and revert to once they've lost possession.
Manning waits to take the corner kick for Southampton on this near side, the right. Playing from left to right as we look. An in-swinger headed up, rather than headed away, it was actually headed behind. It was dropping towards the 4 post, and Sarr tried to get it towards Cunha, couldn't get the space for the release, instead switched it to Sarabia. Aït-Nouri now is forward. Wolves give the ball away, try and win it back as they're coming together, and that will be a free kick. Manning has been fouled outside the centre circle, and back to Chris Jones in the rugby.
Try given, grounding was fine. Cunningham South's got 2 tries already. Smith converted, fast English start this. England 12, Australia 3 after 15.
Another goal at Brentford, John Southall.
Brentford a level, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1. Long throw came to Johan Wieser at the back post, and he headed into the bottom right hand corner, 6th of the season. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
Still goalless at Selhurst Park, and also between West Ham and Everton. 27 minutes played here. Wolves have a slender lead. I think that early goal for Wolves, it's taken out any of the jeopardy. You might have had anxiety building from the Wolves support, but in the end it's just sort of like diffused the atmosphere a little bit in that sense.
It has. Not sitting here saying it's a great atmosphere. I mean, this is one of the grounds that I love coming to because their pre-game, their entertainment, the noise of the PA system and everything, but there is a little bit of a lull, isn't it? It just seems a little bit quiet. There is a nervousness around this game. That first goal will have done the absolute world of good to settle the nerves, but you can just see when Southampton have a little bit of pressure, it goes quiet, and vice versa the other way around. They try and encourage Wolves on the turnover, to the counter-attack with Cunha, the Aït-Nouri, the speed that they have. But actually, when the other team's got possession, like Southampton have now, you can hear it's quite eerily quiet, and you're looking at Wolves sat in a very organised defensive shape.
And bearing in mind that Wolverhampton Wanderers have conceded a Premier League high of 27 goals, even the most eternal optimist of Wolverhampton Wanderers supporters would maybe not necessarily expect them to keep a clean sheet today, given their dreadful run defensively this season. As Armstrong picks it up, ball played by Stevens. Walker-Peters drills it in low. Armstrong gets away. No, he doesn't. Totti recovers that situation well and clears. Peterborough leading Cambridge United by a goal to nil in League One. As the ball goes out of play, and Harwood Bellis will take it quickly to Bednarek. As you say, though, they are conceding a lot of possession to the away side, and now all of a sudden, maybe there's just a growing anxiety within the Wolves support The ball out towards that far side. Fernandez doesn't deliver the cross, passes the ball towards Stevens, who comes away from the penalty area, 35 yards out. Bednarek back into the centre circle for Southampton. Walker-Peters collects the ball on this near side, down the line towards Aribo, that late replacement for Downs after that injury to Downs in the warm-up. Armstrong, Walker-Peters, can they deliver the ball? They're certainly pleasant on the eye, but where's the end product? As Bednarek out towards that far side, they switch it now towards the left. Bednarek, Southampton patiently waiting. Stevens on the ball. Walker-Peters. Now this is Armstrong, just dragging Totti with him.
They're too deep, Wolves. They're allowing Southampton so much possession, but they are making progress up the pitch. All they need to do is pull one or two bodies out. They're dropping deeper and deeper, Wolves, inviting Southampton.
You can certainly hear the murmurs continuing to grow. They don't want their side to be as passive. Stevenage 1, Reading 0 is a latest score in League 1, and at AFC Wimbledon 0, Grimsby Town 1 is the latest in League 2. Ramsdale passes the ball out towards Bednarek on that far side. This is Lallana, turns away, plays the ball forward. Stevens has been dispossessed. It goes out of play for a throw, and then Sarabia snapped into the challenge just as Manning had tried to scoop it up, and on this cold afternoon he might have just wrapped him across the knuckles with his boot.
Well, Manning was doing a Tyrone Mings there, wasn't he? He was picking the ball up, and Sarabia was still committed to the challenge, and I think he just stood on the end of his very cold fingers. He didn't like that one, Manning.
He was doing a Mikel Arteta. I saw him do that in midweek at San Siro. Stockport lead Bolton Wanderers by a 1-0 in League 1. As we will go to Portsmouth in the Championship. Paul Scott.
Still goalless between Pompey and Preston. The visitors having strong appeals for a penalty waved away a few moments ago. Emil Rees went down in the box after rounding goalkeeper Nicholas Smith. The officials weren't interested though. Freddie Woodman making the first save of the match from a Marlon Pack header. It's still Portsmouth 0, Preston 0.
14 minutes to go to half-time. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, also available on the BBC Sounds app. This vital game down at the bottom. The bottom two, Southampton against Wolves, meeting here at Molineux, and Wolverhampton Wanderers leading by a 0 as Southampton have a throw over on that far side, the left, but they go back, and we'll nip to Derby and Shojo Saka.
Derby 1, Plymouth 0. Derby should be further ahead. Liam Thompson should have made it 2, all one-on-one through with the keeper. Plymouth yet to have a shot on goal, but they do have a corner at the moment. Derby 1, Plymouth 0.
There's another stoppage in play here. Jose Sarr has gone down inside the D of his penalty area. Looks like a problem with his left leg, and the physios are on once again, and it's another stoppage that will probably suit Wolverhampton Wanderers. A chance for Gary O'Neill to have a word as he gathers in his players down below.
They were just getting a bit of momentum, Southampton, into this game. Had the possession stats for the last 10 minutes very heavily dominant in the Saints' favour. So the stoppage will definitely help Gary O'Neill, and what we're seeing in front of us is what we see all too regularly when there's an injury on the pitch. The players are almost trained into this basketball style time-out that the managers get. The physios and the doctors are on the pitch, and both managers on the edge of the pitch now, completely surrounded by their own players. Just getting to see a little replay now of Jose Sarr's movement around the goal. Not so sure what he's actually done. There's been nobody around him, so it's a worrying one for the goalkeeper, but thankfully for Gary O'Neill and Wolves, Sam Johnson's back fit and he's on the bench again today, so they signed him, and obviously to challenge for that number 1 spot. So if Jose Sarr is unable to carry on, they've got a very able deputy.
The spray is out, he's back to his feet, but there is still a delay. Back to Chris Jones, England against Australia.
Highly entertaining first 20 minutes in. England 15, Australia 3. Those two Chandler Cunningham South tries for England. Then they won a penalty at the breakdown, and Marcus Smith popped it over. So England lead by 15 points to 3 halfway through the first half.
Barrow leading Colchester United by a 0 in League 2. Commentary of that England-Australia, by the way, is on Sports Extra. No other goals to tell you about. Play is about to resume. West Ham Everton, Chris Coles.
This is a game in need of a spark. Still 0-0. Everton looking the busier with the ball, but despite their promising attacks, no end product. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Also, I noticed during that stoppage, you remember earlier on Strand Larsen, we said about that blow to the thigh. He's just had further treatment too.
And do you know what? Sometimes goalkeepers go down for the managers to have a break and just to regroup and get messages on. I've played for managers in the past in the World Cup with England, certain times when the heat was too intense. If the goalkeeper goes down and the doctors and physio come on, he's the only player on the pitch that doesn't have to go off. Now, I'm not saying Jose Sar's not injured, but there may be a little bit of an element of go down, take your time. If you are injured, take the treatment and let me get some messages on, and let's just stop this flow of possession at the moment.
41 times Paul Robinson represented his country.
I thought you were going to say went down injured.
I wasn't going to ask you about that. Here is Fernandes in the midfield for Southampton. He turns away from the goal scorer Sarabia, rolls the ball along the ground. Walker-Peters joins the attack on this near side, the right, and he's fouled by Cunha. Free kick for Southampton midway through the Wolves half.
The interesting thing to back that point up, during that whole break and the two teams surrounding the managers, Sam Johnson didn't leave his seat off the bench. He didn't go and warm up, he didn't move off the bench. So that maybe tells you there might be a little bit of truth in that.
Peterborough United 2, Cambridge United 0. St Mirren have increased their lead at Easter Road. Hibs 0, St Mirren 2. And Leyton Orient have just taken the lead at home to Blackpool in League One. Leyton Orient 1, Blackpool 0. So Wolverhampton Wanderers leading 1-0 here at Molineux on BBC Radio 5 Live. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Free kick to Southampton midway through the Wolves half. 6 yards in from the right touchline. Manning to take it left-footed, dropping inside the penalty area. Met powerfully by the header away by Dawson. Lallana hooks it in first time. Armstrong collects it running away from the box. Aribo then plays the ball back. Wolves again don't necessarily break. They hold their line on the edge of the penalty area. You can hear the frustration growing from the supporters here at Molineux as they concede possession once again. Lallana floats it forward. Harwood Bellis is forward. His header is then headed away, and then in fact behind. Bednarek was there, and it was a close one.
Yeah, they're getting deeper and deeper. Wolves, they look very, very nervous. I mean, you spoke about the goals that they conceded. 27 goals against this season. I mean, this is 22 consecutive games without a clean sheet, and you can see that very nervous defensively, Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Strand Larsen got there just in front of Bednarek to head it away. Corner kick, Manning to take it, in swinger. Didn't beat the first man. Headed away by Semedo. Wolves still lead by 1-0. Now they try and break, much to the pleasure of the Wolves supporters. It's then hoisted long, headed on by Manning. He'll actually try and latch onto that as well. Got a little nudge from behind there. Nori plays it down the line. And now this is João Gomez, who does well actually to get away from two Southampton players. Strong running over the halfway line. Opens up to Sarabia if he can find him. Took a deflection off the legs of Stevens, but still reaches Sarabia. And then Fernandes dispossesses him with a tackle on the edge of the penalty area. Motherwell leads St Johnstone now 2-0 in the Scottish Premiership. And a goal at Fratton Park in the Championship. Paul Scott.
8 minutes to go until half-time. It's Portsmouth 1, Preston 0. A Matt Ritchie corner from the right, punched by goalkeeper Freddie Woodman into the path of Josh Murphy from 25 yards. A low, hard finish into the bottom corner. Portsmouth 1, Preston 0.
Walker-Peters back towards Stevens. Southampton looking for an equaliser. Walker-Peters passes the ball back. Here is Harwood Bellis. Every outfield player then is in the half away towards our right-hand side. Bristol Rovers lead Lincoln City by 1-0 in League One. Harwood Bellis being under pressure from Strand Larsen, and Wolves working hard, get a throw. Out of play it goes on this near side. Another goal at Sunderland, John Bennett.
A second for Sunderland. Sunderland 2, Coventry City 0. This is one of the goals of the season. Dennis Serkin picked it up in his own half, a 1-2, carried it to the penalty area, and it flew into the net. What a goal. Sunderland 2, Coventry 0.
They're going extremely well, undefeated in 7 championship games. And what's that in terms of the possession stats, Paul? 69% for Southampton. That's no surprise, is it?
No, it shows you the way that the game's really changing. After that goal, yeah, Wolves did stay in the game, but Southampton becoming more and more dominant.
Here is Lallana into the penalty area. João Gomez did well. He just tried to steer the ball into the path of Archer. 12 yards out from goal. Walker-Peters held Cunha. He manages to wriggle clear. And Gary O'Neill saying, well, where's the advantage there? Because then Walker-Peters was able to dispossess Cunha.
I'm not so sure that was a foul. I think they were clutching there. They really were, Wolves. They're struggling to get any kind of sustained possession. Southampton very dominant in possession, and when they do turn it over, Wolves 1 or 2 passes and they lose possession again.
Got to be careful. Gary O'Neill, a yellow card today would see him serve a touchline ban against Fulham after the international break as his side lead by 1-0. It's a scoreline that would take Wolverhampton Wanderers off the bottom of the Premier League to be replaced by Southampton, who've got some tough looking games after the international break. But here is Lallana, edge of the area. Fernandes hits it first time, blocked goes behind for a corner kick to Southampton, who were certainly looking likely to score here.
Yeah, Wolves defensively looking very, very ragged. Nelson Semedo trying to tuck in alongside Bueno. Dawson as well, Totti Gomez. The communication between back three, back four and the goalkeeper is not quite there. Southampton are picking them open far too easily at will at the moment. And again, it's yet another corner.
Just over 6 minutes to go to the break. And Southampton pressing for an equaliser here at Molineux on 5 Live. Wolves 1, Southampton 0. In it comes from the corner kick, and the header from Harwood Bellis. Downward header, far side of the 6-yard box, goes in the end a good 2 yards wide of that right-hand post. Another goal at Ellen Road. Julia Bold.
It's now Leeds 2, QPR 0, set up by Pascal Struijk. Manor Solomon slotting it home this time beyond Paul Nardi. Leeds are relentless. It's Leeds 2, QPR 0.
Against the Queen's Park Rangers side, struggling without a win in 11. That might be a dozen games without victory then, the way it's going for them at Ellen Road this afternoon, as Sarr, all in green, away towards our right, takes the goal kick as Wolves, 5 minutes before half-time, still have a slender lead. Ball breaks towards Sarabia, forward ball to Strand Larsen, cut out by Harwood Bellis. Aribo back towards Walker-Peters, now with Bednarek. Stevens will take over on that far side. Manning once again is ahead of him, providing the width on that left touchline in front of that travelling support that actually ahead of the game. Russell Martin made a real point, didn't he, of going over to acknowledge the travelling support that have filled the entire bottom tier of that Billy Wright stand.
We wondered where he was going, didn't we? I mean, he came out well before his team came out of the tunnel, and he made the effort to walk literally the whole width of the pitch and stand in front of that Southampton support. And to a person, they all give him a round of applause and greeted him warmly.
Here is Lallana, he goes square. Stevens out to Manning, first time cross, drilled in blow, blocked by Semedo. They have scored the fewest amount of goals in the top division, only 7 in the Premier League, Southampton, but they are knocking on the door.
They look the better team. I mean, they're on an 8-game losing Premier League away run, but you wouldn't suggest that from the way that they're playing. They're certainly the better team. Wolves defensively, they look fragile, but Southampton in the ascendancy at the moment. Wolves are just looking to get to half-time. They're very, very deep, playing on the counter-attack.
Ball goes out towards that left-hand side. Manning hoists it very, very deep. Armstrong tries to keep the ball in play, volleys it, strikes the chest of Aït-Nouri, who now all of a sudden has got a lot of room to run into on this near side, the left. Gary O'Neill's telling him to hurry up, because he was quite laboured, wasn't he? And in the end, that opportunity that could have potentially led to a counter-attack never materialised.
That's just the team and players that are lacking in confidence. You can see that. Aït-Nouri had 2 or 3 options ahead of him. He didn't want to put the ball at risk. Instead, he chose to turn, recycle the ball around the back four and keep possession in midfield, which, and again, they've lost possession and Southampton have it back.
Peterborough United have rattled in a third against Cambridge United, and news of another goal at Derby. Shojo Saka.
Derby 1, Plymouth 1. Wayne Rooney's Plymouth level at his old club. Adam Randall with a free kick from 30 yards out, took a wicked deflection off the wall and in. Derby 1, Plymouth 1.
And that goal didn't stand, Julia, at Ellen Road.
No, it didn't. Manor Solomon's effort to put Leeds at 2-0 up against QPR. After they celebrated, it was decided it was offside. Daniel Farker just had a smile. Leeds 1, QPR 0.
Thanks, Julia. Wolves lead 1-0. We're inside the last 3 minutes of the first half here on 5 Live in the World Service. Sarabia finds João Gomez, cuts it back. Cunha tries to have a first-time swing at that right-footed, but he slips and the ball runs out tamely for a goal kick to Southampton. Paul Robinson.
Oh, Ramsdale's hardly touched the ball in this first half. He's been a mere spectator. Southampton have dominated possession. They've had the better of the play. And as I said about Wolves, you know, especially at home, you would expect more from them going forward. That early goal, they've got the early goal. They looked okay for the initial 5-10 minutes after that. But the longer the half's gone on, the more dominant Southampton have become. Wolves have been very sacrificial in possession, allowed Southampton possession, and dropped deeper and deeper and deeper.
You can see why Southampton have struggled to score goals. There's no cutting edge, is there, in front of goal? You know, for all the possession that they've created, Jose Sarr, yes, they've had a goal disallowed, but he hasn't been seriously stretched, the Wolves keeper.
No, I'm looking at the formation now, and Cameron Archer and Adam Armstrong, the 2 strikers for Wolves. One's on the right wing and one's on the left wing. There's nobody kind of down the middle, and the best opportunities they've had is Ryan Manning down the left-hand side. He's really created a lot of problems, but the movement in and around the box, in and around the 18-yard area, and chances created for all the possession they've had, as you quite rightly say, Jose Sarr hasn't been tested other than the goal that they've had disallowed, but they have been the better team in the first half, Southampton.
Tranmere Rovers 1, Newport County 0 is the latest score in League 2. Crawley Town lead Huddersfield Town by 1-0 in League 1. We've got a free kick for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are 1-0 up here inside, 90 seconds away from the break, or the end of the regulation 45. Free kick is hoisted by Sarabia. It's going to come out towards Lamina, left side of the penalty area. He plays the ball back to Aït-Nouri, doesn't deliver the cross first time. Totti is to his left, back then with Lamina. Wolves going away from the penalty area. Southampton have retreated, flags up on the far side. Goal at Fratton Park, Paul Scott.
It is Portsmouth 2, Preston 0 on the stroke of half time. Another goal from a corner, Freddie Potts' corner from the left, missed by goalkeeper Freddie Woodman. Connor Ogilvie with a tap in from close range. Pompey 2, Preston 0.
That'll be a much needed win if that's the case. They've only won one in their previous 15. Try in the rugby, Chris Jones.
England 15, Australia 10. England's momentum halted first by an injury to Tom Curry, then by an Australian try made by Joseph Akuso Swalei on his first pro rugby union appearance. Lovely little ball, Tom right into the corner, great conversion. Lolaseo, 12 to go to half time. England 15, Australia 10.
Commentary on Sports Extras. Wolves pick up the ball and Strand Larsen runs forward. There was a potential break on 2 against 2. Strand Larsen waits, he runs at the heart of the Southampton defence and then passes the ball without looking to his right, but Lamina hadn't kept on that run on the right hand side, and it means that Bednarek has got all the time in the world to deal and bring the ball forward for Southampton.
Nobody stayed with him. Strand Larsen, I mean, he's not the quickest of strikers, but he had so much time in possession. He held the ball up well, trying to look for his teammates. He ran 20-30 yards and nobody went with him. Nobody in a gold shirt was anywhere near him.
6 minutes of added on time. We have had a lot of stoppages. Fernandez here for Southampton, infield towards Lallana. João Gomez brings him to the floor with a challenge from behind. Direct free kick for Southampton, which is, well, you're close to 30 yards out from goal, left of centre.
I can't believe that from Strand Larsen and the players that didn't go with him. I mean, you're looking around, you're looking for Aït-Nouri, you're looking for Sarabia, and it was Lamina, the defensive midfielder. He was the one closest to Strand Larsen, but he was so exposed and so on his own. You would expect that situation if this was coming towards the end of the game. If added time towards the 90 minutes had just been put up, you'd say, OK, fair enough, he's up there on his own, he's running into space, he's trying to hold on to possession. But they had an opportunity. At one point, they were 2-on-2, and then all of a sudden, the others just decided not to carry on running and stay in a defensive shape behind him.
It was a lethargic attack at best, and even when you think back to the Aït-Nouri one previously, that was certainly lacking energy too. Peterborough have got a fourth at home to Cambridge United. Peterborough United 4, Cambridge United 0. So this free kick is in a really dangerous position. You've got Manning or Fernandez for Southampton. It's a shade under 30 yards out from goal. We're into 6 minutes of added on time. Southampton trailing. Does Fernandez go for goal? Certainly expecting a lot from Manning to try and wrap his left foot around that. Wolves have got everybody back inside their penalty area. Jose Sarr's not going to get a good view of this, you wouldn't think. There must be at least 5 in the wall. Southampton have got their own wall of 3. It's Fernandez, right-footed, who gets it off target, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was a long way out. It was a big ask from Fernandez. And as you say, there was 2 big walls in front of him, one in gold and one in red and white. Just watching the replay, that goes well wide of Jose Sarr's right-hand post.
Goal at Selhurst Park, Henry Moran.
And it's a goal for Fulham. Emile Smith-Rowe capitalising on an error at the back from Palace. Low finish, bottom corner. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1.
The half-time scores are popping up on the video printer just to my left. Mark Chapman will take you around the grounds on 5 Live. Lee James likewise on the World Service. We'll go and pay a visit to West Ham there with Chris Coles.
West Ham 0, Everton 0. Signs of life from West Ham, who have been very tame so far. Jared Bowen shot from an angle, well saved by Jordan Pickford. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Match of the day tonight, BBC One at 11 o'clock. As Southampton in the 6 minutes of added on time. And we've already reached the halfway point of that. Play the ball up towards Manning on that far side, the left. Tell you what, if it stays like this for the next, well, even with 15 minutes remaining, it's going to get tense around here as Wolves try and eat their way. first win of this Premier League campaign, which would be such a valuable win going into the international break. Strand Larsen with a layup. João Gomez with his pink boots passes the ball to Cunha. Now all of a sudden there's energy in the attack as Cunha accelerates in towards the penalty area. Ramsdale prevents the ball from going behind for a corner kick as he dives on it to the right of goal and finds Aribo on this near side. Just grateful we had the goal so early as we did.
It certainly is. I mean, it's Wolves. I mean, I'm looking at the possession stats now. 27% possession at home in a game that you feel is a must-win. That just shows where you know who's having the lion's share, who's dominating this fixture at the moment. As in, since that goal, Wolves they did okay initially, but now they just look so defensive and so nervy on the ball. Nobody wants to give the ball away. Nobody wants to be that one that loses possession, which then stops you playing that killer pass going forward.
Well, Wolves try and come forward, and they lose the ball to Aribo, who pokes it to Armstrong. His return ball is going to be intercepted by Cunha, working back and doing his job well. Strokes it out towards Semedo on that far side, the right. Sometimes you see teams that are being forced back, but you get the impression that Wolves have just sat back. There's a difference.
They've been quite happy. You know, you can see the way that they have out of possession, but Southampton, they haven't really created that many chances and that many problems. For those ridiculous possession stats, 27% at home, you would expect Southampton to be creating opportunities, the goalkeeper flying all over, making saves. They've had the one disallowed goal, which, you know, they would be controversial on the VAR decision, but then the only thing that Southampton have really offered is a load of corners.
Well, into stoppage time, Southampton with the ball yet again. Walker-Peters across the back, Bednarek, Stevens, now with Harwood-Bellis playing right of the that three-man defence for Southampton. But again, there's no pressure on the ball. Wolves have retreated. Bednarek then comes to be pressed by Sarabia out towards that far side. We are into the last 60 seconds of the minimum of 6, where Wolves have a precious lead. But here is Lallana leaving it for Mateus Fernandes, who tries to get away from Sarabia, and in the end has been dispossessed. And then there was a foul by Aribo on Sarabia. Free kick to Wolves.
They're going to have to find a way, Southampton. They're going to have to move the ball quicker, try and pull this Wolves defence out of position, because with all the possession that they've got, you can see the fewest goals scored in the league, 7 goals, and you can see why today. All the possession they have, the creativity, they just don't move the ball quick enough in the final third. The wrong decisions, the wrong choices, and they just don't execute the final pass.
The voice of Paul Robinson, the former England international, former Leeds United, Tottenham and Blackburn Rovers goalkeeper, who's with us here at Molineux. We're into stoppage time. The results in the earlier games in the Championship: Cardiff 1, Blackburn 3, Middlesbrough 5, Luton 1, Stoke 1, Millwall 1 in the Championship, Burton 2, Shrewsbury 0, Wrexham 1, Mansfield 0, Harrogate 1, Morecambe 2, Salford 0, Carlisle 1, as the half-time whistle sounds here in this Premier League contest, where Wolves, after taking the lead inside 2 minutes, have held on despite Southampton dominating with possession and having that goal through VAR ruled out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen 2 very contrasting performances. I think both managers will take a lot of positives. Russell Martin will be delighted with the way that his team have played. He's going down the tunnel underneath us smiling. I don't think he could ask for any more from his team other than the goal. The possession they've dominated, the way that they've played, they just haven't created the chances and haven't been clinical in the final third. Gary O'Neill, on the other hand, he goes in with his team 1-0 up, having created that chance early on and then nothing since. I'd be worried from a Wolves point of view. They look like they're there for the taking, and not being disrespectful, but if they were playing a better team, I think they'd have been 2 or 3 down by now.
Well, Southampton, one of the coaching staff inquiring still with the referee about that disallowed goal, as the referee Thomas Bramall made his way down the tunnel. But half-time at Molineux, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Southampton 0.
Spoke to Ian Holloway earlier on 5 Live Sport, his Swindon side in League 2, and it's his first league game in charge this afternoon. Took the lead after a minute at MK Dons through Harry Smith's 5th of the season. They've just conceded in the last minute of the first half, and MK Dons equalised through Kane, Thompson, Sommers, and it is 1-1, and the half-time whistle has just gone there. Incredible game at Twickenham. England 18, Australia 17. It's on Sports Extra if you want to listen to it. We'll go to it shortly. We're going to go around all the Premier League half-times first of all. Wolves a goal up then at home to Southampton. Goalless at the London Stadium. Chris Coles.
Yeah, the antithesis of that action at Twickenham is probably this game, Mark. Flat, flat, flat. West Ham 0, Everton 0. Jared Bowen with an angled shot tipped wide by Jordan Pickford in first half stoppage time. West Ham's only shot on target. Murmurs and mutters from the home crowd at half time. half-time. Everton have looked OK going forward, but an Njai daisy cutter and a Calvert-Lewin looping header, all they have to show for it. It's not been great. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Fulham have the advantage at Selhurst Park. Henry Moran.
Palace 0, Fulham 1, a game filled with energy and endeavour, and a Fulham lead thanks to Emile Smith-Rowe. The ex-Arsenal connection of Smith-Rowe and Reece Nelson causing plenty of problems. Smith-Rowe getting the reward with that low finish beyond Henderson in added time after the Kras mistake. Palace top scorer Mateta has looked a constant threat, but the home side are behind. Palace 0, Fulham 1.
A goal for both sides at Brentford. John Southall.
Yeah, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1. Horrible goal for Brentford to concede. Van der Berg's back pass way short, straight to Evan Nielsen, rounded Flecken, tucked it in. Very composed finish from the Brazilian. 3 from 3 for him. The equaliser, Jensen with the long throw, helped on, and there was Johan Weister at the back post to head into the bottom right-hand corner. 6th of the season for him. Brentford finished this half strongly, nicely poised this one. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
Earlier in the Championship, Cardiff 1, Blackburn 3, Middlesbrough 5, Luton 1, Stoke 1, Millwall 1 at the in the 3 o'clock games. We'll start with the leaders, Sunderland. John Bennett.
Sunderland 2, Coventry City 0. Life after Mark Robbins getting off to a very tough start for Coventry. Sunderland superb so far. Wilson Isidore ended their goal drought with an excellent left foot volley which looped in. Sunderland's second was a worldie. Dennis Sirkin, the left back, picked it up deep inside his own half, a 1-2 on the halfway line. Then he unleashed an unstoppable shot just outside the box. An amazing goal. Top of the table, Sunderland 2, Coventry 0.
It's the Sheffield derby tomorrow at Bramall Lane, so Leeds could go above Sheffield United this afternoon. Julia Bold.
It's Leeds 1, QPR 0. Leeds just cranking up the pressure from kick-off. Jayden Bogle eventually got the ball in the net with his left foot after a spell where the home side were relentless searching for a goal. Manor Solomon later ruled offside when he looked to have doubled the lead, and the visitors are just struggling to get out of their own half. Just one shot, and that was off target. Compare it to the home side's 12 shots. They should be well out of sight at the break. It's Leeds 1, QPR 0.
Let's go to the bottom of the table, and the side who are bottom have had a very good 45 minutes. Paul Scott.
They have indeed. It is Portsmouth 2, Preston 0 at the break. Pompey haven't won in front of their home fans in more than 200 days, but they are good value for their lead here. Josh Murphy's long-range effort opened the scoring 9 minutes before half-time. Conor Ogilvy's close-range finish made it 2-0 on the stroke of half-time. Preston haven't mustered a single attempt at the other end. It's Portsmouth 2, Preston 0.
Wayne Rooney's return to Pride Park next. Shojo Saka.
Yeah, Derby 1, Plymouth 1. A spectacular overhead kick from Jerry Yates, giving Derby an early lead. It was simply brilliant. Not too dissimilar to that famous one scored by the opposition manager Wayne Rooney all those years ago. Derby have missed a number of decent chances to make it 2. The Plymouth equaliser coming against the run of play. Adam Randall with a deflected free kick from 30 yards out. Half-time, Derby 1, Plymouth 1.
Carrow Road next. Mark Webber.
Where it's Norwich City 0, Bristol City 1. Norwich with the most chances on goal, the most possession this half, but they find themselves a goal down to a disillusioned defence exploited by Anis Mehmeti's low drive into the bottom right of the net 16 minutes in. Norwich will rue Emiliano Marcondes hitting the post and Alice Lane are shooting wide because Bristol City are still there looking for their second. At the moment it's Norwich 0, Bristol City 1.
2 early games in League One saw a first win of the season for Burton. They beat Shrewsbury 2-0 and Wrexham saw off Mansfield by a goal to 0. At 3 o'clock, half-time at St Andrews. Pat Murphy.
Birmingham 0, Northampton 0. Predictable. Northampton defending with discipline and resolution. A lot of shots blocked. Birmingham players bumped into each other. No clear chance. One at the other end, though, when Guthrie really should have scored. 10 yards out, 1-on-1. Super save from Allsop. Birmingham 0, Northampton 0.
So Wickham could put a gap between themselves and Birmingham, and at this stage they are doing. Betty Glover.
Yeah, looking good for the league leaders. They've got a slender lead at half-time after Dan Harvey whipped in a great corner, which Joe Lowe got onto the end of for the only goal of the half. Wickham had a couple of opportunities to double that lead, but the best chance goes to Wigan just before the break after some good attacking play, which fans of haven't seen much of recently. Johnny Smith cut inside on the edge of the box, curled the ball towards the top corner, but it just hit the bar. I think Wigan boss Sean Maloney will like the look of that. At half-time, it's Wigan 0, Wickham 1.
So elsewhere in League One this afternoon, Bristol Rovers lead Lincoln by a goal to 0. It's Crawley 1, Huddersfield 0. Rushian Hepburn Murphy's 4th of the season, the difference between the two sides there. Exeter 0, Charlton Leyton Orient, who've lost 4 in 5 in League One, lead Blackpool at the break by 1-0. Cambridge have had 3 clean sheets in League One. That's come to an end with a bump today. They are 4-0 down at Peterborough at the break. Ricky J. Jones with the first for Peterborough. That's his 8th of the season. Kwame Poku's got 2. That takes him to 9. And then Malik Mothersill got a penalty late on in that first half. That's his 6th of the season. It's going very well for Darren Ferguson's side there. Stevenage lead Reading by 1-0, and it's Stockport 1, Bolton 0. In League 2 this afternoon, earlier, the bottom 2 both won away from home. Morecambe 2-1 at Harrogate and Carlisle 1-0 at Salford. In the 3 o'clock games, AFC Wimbledon 0, Grimsby 1. Danny Rose's 5th of the season, the difference between the two sides there. Barrow lead Colchester by 1-0. It's Cheltenham 0, Bromley 0, but Bromley are down to 10 in that game. Carl Jenkinson has been sent off. Paul Cook's Chesterfield taking on one of his former clubs this afternoon, and they are trailing at the break. It's Chesterfield 0, Accrington Stanley 1. Notts County lead at Doncaster by 1-0 thanks to Jatta's 10th of the season. Fleetwood 1, Bradford City 0. Ryan Coughlan's 8th of the season, and it came from a penalty spot earlier on. Gillingham 0, Port Vale 0. MK Dons 1, Swindon 1. Tranmere lead Newport by 1-0 thanks to Colin Jennings' 3rd of the season, and it's goalless between Walsall and Crewe. In the National League earlier, Aldershot were reduced to 9 as they were beaten 2-0 at home by Wealdstone. The leaders York beat Hartlepool by 5-3. In the half-time games, AFC Fylde 1, Gateshead 0. Boston 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 1. Eastleigh 1, Braintree 0. Halifax 1, Woking 0. Maidenhead 0, Forest Green Rovers 2. All square between Rochdale and Sutton, that's 1-1. Solihull Moors are 2-0 up on Altrincham at the break. Goalless between Southend and Yeovil, and Southend are down to 10. Tamworth 0, Ebbsfleet 1. Let's just go back to League 2, get details of Notts County's lead at Doncaster from Naz Premji.
Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1, Mark. Really good game. Notts County dominated early, took a deserved lead when Jacob Beddoes' pinpoint cross found Alassana Jeddah free in the box. The striker headed in 6 yards out. A wayward back pass nearly let Jeddah in again. His shot was saved. Doncaster had a good spell. Billy Sharp with a couple of shots kept out well, and Kyle Hurst and Luke Molyneux have tried to get in behind the County back line as well. As it stands, County moving up to second. Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1.
Scottish Premiership this afternoon, goalless between Dundee United and Ross County. St Mirren are 2-0 up at Hibs. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0. Aberdeen Dundee 5:30 kickoff at Pittodrie. In the Championship, top lead bottom by 1-0. That's Falkirk and Airdrieonians. Hamilton 1, Livingston 1. Partick 1, Wraith 0. Queen's Park 1, Dunfermline 0. In League 1, Annan 1, Stenhouse Muir 1. Cove Rangers 1, Inverness 1. Kelty Hearts 0, Dumbarton 0. And Montrose are a goal up on Arbroath. In League 2 this afternoon, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Elgin 0. East Fife 0, Stranraer 1. Edinburgh 0, Clyde 0. Forfar 0, Spartans 2. Stirling 2, Peterhead 1. If you want the rugby this afternoon from Twickenham, it's on Sports Extra. They've reached half-time. What has happened in that last 10-15 minutes of the first half, Chris Jones?
Remarkable 40 minutes, Mark. England 18, Australia 20. England came firing out the traps. 2 Cunningham South try. Smith kicked a conversion, a penalty. England led 15-3, looked in control. But a bit of class from Joseph Suoliti. A nice over-the-top ball. In goes Tom Wright. Well converted by Noah Lolaseo. And then another Aussie score. Snipe from replacement 9. Tate McDermott, and in goes the skipper Harry Wilson, again converted, and then on the stroke of half-time, more Wallaby pressure and a penalty converted by Lolaseo. England have lost momentum. It's all with the Wallabies. Twickenham stunned, but a brilliant first 40 of rugby. England 18, Australia 20.
How's he looking, by the way?
Every time he's got the ball, he's exuded class. You know, whether he's getting a lot of the ball, enough of the ball, whether he's always in the perfect position, maybe not, given he's never played professional rugby union before, but little touches here and there, you can see why he's so hyped up.
By the way, we're talking about Suoliti there, if you weren't listening a little bit earlier on. Played NRL, played rugby league, and has switched codes after a sort of $5 million Australian dollar move. That's about £3 million, and that's his first game in professional rugby union, playing for Australia at Twickenham this afternoon. Remarkable story. Second half of All the Football on the way after the news with Jill McKenzie, 3 minutes past 4.
the voice of the UK.
And the home of the Premier League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
A senior advisor to President-elect Trump says the aim of ending the war in Ukraine is about finding peace, not winning back territory. Brian Lanza told the BBC President Zelensky needs to acknowledge that Crimea has already been lost to Russia. A 22-year-old man from Cornwall's been killed while fighting in Ukraine. The parents of Callum Tyndall Draper have told the BBC their son died earlier this week while defending an observation point with an international battalion. Reports suggest Qatar's withdrawn as a key mediator in negotiations about a ceasefire and the release of hostages in Gaza. A diplomatic source says Qatar's ending its role until Hamas and Israel demonstrate a sincere willingness to talk in good faith. And Buckingham Palace says Queen Camilla won't attend remembrance events this weekend because of a chest infection. Doctors have told her to stay at home to recover and protect others.
Good morning, 5 Live Breakfast with Rick and Rachel. I would like to take this opportunity to offer you my congratulations on 3 years in my company.
It is incredible.
Well done.
There are some nice messages. I discovered you 2 years too late. Never mind, says Linda, I'm here now.
Welcome, Linda.
5 Live Breakfast.
With Rachel Burden and Rick Edwards.
Greg in Plymouth says congratulations to you both. I was unsure of Rick initially. Some days I still am.
It's not an uncommon opinion, that one, though.
No, the thing about me, Greg, is I will grind you down. I grind everyone down in the end.
5 Live Breakfast.
It's weekdays from 6 on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport.
With Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Teams coming out at Molineux, so just time to squeeze in a little bit of Rob Edwards after he saw his Luton side thrash 5-1 at Middlesbrough in the Championship.
Obviously feel quite numb. Horrible day for us. In one of those days where you want the ground to swallow you up in the end with the way it was sort of going. But yeah, it's a really difficult day, and the supporters are my main concern. I just want to apologise to them. Whatever will be, I'm not in control of that stuff. I love this football club, and whatever is best for the football club is the right thing. We have given everything for this football club. You know, I've loved my 2 years. It's been one hell of a ride, and we've achieved things that no one thought were possible. So if that is it, we can hold our heads high that we've given everything. And, you know, if it's not, then we continue to fight. But I don't want to be a divisive figure here where the supporters, because they're the most important people at any football club. If they, they're the ones that will make that noise, and they're the ones that will let us know. And so I'm realistic, but I'm proud of the work that we've done here. Today was not a good day, and over the last few months it's been tough. There's been a lot of challenges, and it's been difficult, but the football club always comes first.
In a tough spot is Rob Edwards, and understandably emotional after that 5-1 thrashing. Some games already back underway in the second half, and Stockport have got an early goal in League One at home to Bolton. Carl Wootton has got it, 7 for the season for him. Stockport 2, Bolton 0. Back to Molineux, Paul Robinson and Ian Dennis.
Well, yeah, I can tell you as well that there's been a couple of changes, one for either side. No surprise to see Sarabia, the goal scorer, as the second half is back underway, come off because he picked up that injury, didn't look fully fit towards the end of that first half. So Bellegarde has replaced him. And then another change is Tyler Dibling coming on for Manning for Southampton. So it's he'd been playing as a left wing back. Dibling coming on for him. I'll give you the two teams after we've heard about a goal at Brentford from John Southall.
An early goal for Bournemouth. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 2. Lovely, well-worked corner from the right-hand side. Ended up with Justin Kluivert finishing from 12 yards out. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 2.
So Southampton revert to a flat back four as they play in their red and white striped shirts, black shorts. From right to left as we look, Jack Stevens now playing as the left back. They're defending the Sir Jack Hayward stand away towards our right hand side. Red and white shirts, black shorts from right to left. Wolves in the gold shirts and the black shorts defending that Sir Stan Cullis stand away towards our left hand side. The ball is hoisted downfield towards Cunha, tries to take it on the full. Going with him is Harwood Bellis, stands him up and dispossesses him. Goal at Fratton Park in the Championship, Paul Scott.
Game on here, it's Portsmouth 2, Preston 1. A triple change at half-time from North End boss Paul Heckingbottom, and it's made an immediate impact. Emil Rees with the goal for Preston. Pompey 2, Preston 1.
Commentary to come from the Amex. Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City from 5:30 here on 5 Live. Cheltenham Town are leading the 10 men of Bromley by a 1-0 in League Two. What do you make about the Southampton change, Paul Robinson?
Just looking at it now, it's Adam Armstrong has actually been asked to drop into that left-hand side of midfield. It's a definite formation change, definitely changed to a back four. It must be an injury to Manning because he was their most offensive player in the first half.
Certainly was. Armstrong back with Stevens, Bednarek, Harwood-Bellis. Wolves once again are defending deep as Southampton advance downfield over on that far side, the right. We'll be going back to Brentford in a moment. We'll just see if anything materialises from this Southampton attack as they're trying to prise open this Wolves defence. But Southampton go back towards the centre circle, only for Bednarek then to come forward and to leave it for Lallana to see what influence he can have on the ball. As Stevens out towards Armstrong on this near side, level with the penalty area. And Southampton once again just biding their time. So we'll go to Brentford and John.
For two.
So we've just temporarily lost the line, but I can tell you that Mikkel Damsgaard has scored for Brentford. So Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1, West Ham United 0, Everton 0 remains the latest score. Brighton, Manchester City at 5:30. There'll be updates from Liverpool, Aston Villa at 8 o'clock. As Fernandes with a cross, nobody there. And no wonder that Russell Martin, the manager, looks exasperated as his arms go out to the side of him. That cross from the left corner of the area, straight down the throat of Jose Sarr.
They've been wasteful in the final third. You can see why they've struggled for goals, Southampton. But Wolves, like we said at the end of the first half, they've started this second half in a similar way. They look like a team that are there for the taking. We were speaking to some of the Wolves staff at the half time and the local radio commentators, and we were saying you can see that they're a team devoid of confidence. The last Premier League win, the 27th of April against Luton Town. It's a long time to go without a Premier League win, and to concede goals the way they do after going ahead, you can see there's just a real nervousness around this team. They look like a team devoid of confidence. A second goal for Wolves would do them absolutely the world of good.
Yeah, drawn 3 and lost 7 this season, but you think to the end of last year's campaign they only had 1 win in their last final 10 games, so that is 8 points out of a possible 60, as they've only had 1 win in 20 Premier League games. Here is Aït-Nouri, gets it out from underneath his feet, shot blocked by Walker-Peters inside the penalty area. Dibbling was being held back there by Totti, and that will be a free kick to Southampton midway through their own half on this cold afternoon. I always tell when it starts to get cold, you get dew drops on the end of your nose.
Maybe that's an age thing. It's certainly cold though, isn't it? I've not suffered with the drops yet.
There's still time. You celebrated your birthday only last month.
Yeah, but I'll never catch you up.
Southampton trying to play out from the back, give the ball away inside the penalty area. Totti now, and this is João Gomez who shoots, and Ramsdale who's low down towards his right to make a smart save. There's been a goal at there has been a goal at Selhurst Park. Henry Moran.
Well, we think there has. They'll check it for offside, but it's a brilliant breakaway. Emile Smith-Rowe finishing a stunning move, starting with the goalkeeper, almost involved everyone on the pitch, breaking forward, ball across the box, low finish. We'll check that offside. At the moment, Palace 0, Fulham 2.
Did you think that the Southampton goal that was ruled out for VAR in the first half was a clear and obvious error?
That's a point that we were discussing at half-time. It's a very good point you make, because actually it depends which side of the fence you sit on. From a Southampton point of view, you would say absolutely no, it's not. It was it's one of those really grey areas where it's a matter of opinion. The referee's opinion on the pitch and the VAR official's opinion. Was it a huge error? Did he need to go over to the screen? I think we were in the area of...
Cunha with a shot. Oh, and what a shot! That's an absolute perler from Cunha. He's picked it up 30 yards out, hit it right-footed, given Ramsdale absolutely no chance. A goal out of nothing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. It could be such a valuable goal, not just for the club, but also for Gary O'Neill.
What a strike. I mean, it tells you how far out he was. We were mid-conversation. We got the ball, he turned, and you're thinking, he's going to hit this, and boy does he hit this, and he whips it high, wide, to the right of Aaron Ramsdale. It's a fantastic strike by Cunha on his right foot. He's got no right to score from there. It's a fantastic technique. Ramsdale's positioning's good, but what the shot does, it goes up and down. It looks like it lands in the middle of the net, which it does, but it's the whip and the dip that Cunha gets on this. It goes over and back down over the diver Ramsdale. He's absolutely furious, Ramsdale, with something. He's come out talking to the referee, he's got himself a yellow card, and he's still out discussing it with his defenders. But what a strike by Cunha.
Russell Martin just having a word in the ear of the fourth official. But Cunha 6 minutes into the second half. That should settle the nerves, as Peterborough United have rattled a fifth at London Road against Cambridge United. Peterborough 5, Cambridge 0. But that was a bolt from the blue.
And there's something in the build-up, because Aaron Ramsdale's still out. Russell Martin, with his coaching staff, he's still in the ear of the fourth official. He's absolutely livid about something. He's looking at his tactics board now. He's getting back to business to change something. But the minute that goal hits the net, Aaron Ramsdale's off. He's running half the length of the pitch to chase the referee.
And shown a yellow card for his efforts, as well, as Paul Robinson said. So Ramsdale has been booked, joining Harwood Bellis in the notebook of Thomas Bramall. But Wolverhampton Wanderers now have a second goal, which will just give them a little bit of breathing space here inside Molineux. Back to Selhurst Park, Henry Moran.
It remains Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1. Emile Smith-Rowe just offside by a fraction of a toenail. It remains Palace 0, Fulham 1.
Bueno crosses from the right-hand side, doesn't reach Cunha. Walker-Peters with the interception, clears it long. Totti meets it, heads it powerfully. Bellegarde unable to control the ball, leaves Gary O'Neill hopping mad inside his technical area. Bellegarde wins it back. Bellegarde then goes to ground and gets a free kick for Wolves. That's applauded above his head there by Gary O'Neill. And any nerves that might have been building with that slender lead just seems to have eased a little bit now inside Molineux.
You can just feel the change in atmosphere immediately. You can hear the home support now in full voice behind the goal to our right-hand side. I mean, it's an amazing strike by Cunha, but it wasn't coming. Wolves didn't look like getting into the opposition's half, never mind scoring, but it's took something really special just to settle the nerves, to calm things down.
Before that second goal, and aside from the first goal that they scored after 1 minute and 49 seconds, the loudest cheer other than that was at half-time for the Q&A on the pitch with Ruben Neves, who got a lovely ovation from the Molineux faithful. Wolves now lead 2-0. Cunha with a teasing ball in, and the header offside against Strand Larsen was straight at Ramsdale. But Southampton now have it all to do to score 2 goals in this game. The weakest attack in the top flight, trailing now in this vital game down at the bottom. And Wolves on course for their first win of this Premier League season at the 11th attempt.
Well, if they are to win today, Southampton, they've almost got to score half the amount of goals today that they've scored in the whole season, and they haven't looked like scoring today.
Dibbling, far side the right, foul, free kick to Southampton, level with the penalty area right-hand side. Meanwhile, a goal at Brentford, John Southall.
Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2, Johan Wieser through on goal, clipped it over Kepa. The irrepressible Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2.
At Tannadice, Dundee United have taken the lead against Ross County in the Scottish Premiership, and also in the Scottish Premiership, St Johnstone have got a goal back at Fir Park. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1. You're up to date with the goals as they go in, up and down the country on BBC Radio 5 Live, the BBC Sounds app, and also live on the World Service. Southampton 2-0 down, have a free kick in front of their travelling support, a few yards in from the touchline level with the area. Fernandes and Dibbling going to leave it. It'll be Fernandes right-footed. It's hoisted very, very deep. That was wasteful, as Huddersfield have equalised at Crawley. 1-1 there in League One. West Ham, Chris Coles.
0, West Ham 0, Everton 0, but West Ham come close. Guido Rodriguez, stinging shot from the edge of the area, needed saving by Pickford. Still West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Tranmere Rovers 2, Newport County 0. Ramsdale being booed by the supporters behind him in that end away towards our right-hand side. Stevens in field towards Lallana. Gary O'Neill extremely animated. He said yesterday that he doesn't fear about his future, that this will certainly go you would think, a significant way to easing the pressure on the under-fire manager, as Southampton are looking at making changes as they try and play out from the back, but Aribo gives it away, and all of a sudden Wolves try and profit Aribo comes back to him, scrappy. Both sides there guilty of not holding on to the ball as Bednarek passes the ball out towards this near side, but Southampton are coming under pressure. Lallana tries to get away from João Gomez, up towards Fernandez, tries to roll away from Totti. Looked like he was being held there, the referee says not. But again, both sides lose the ball.
So much better by Wolves. The pressing in areas of the pitch they weren't entering into when Southampton had possession earlier on. Pressing high, winning the ball back in their attacking final third instead of dropping deep. You can see there's been a huge change in mentality from Wolves as soon as that second goal's gone in.
Ball by Dawson, looking for Semedo near side the right, too far ahead of him, out of play for a throw. Wolves lead 2-0, as do Sunderland the last we heard. John Bennett.
Yeah, still Sunderland 2, Coventry City 0, but Coventry much improved second half. Hadji Wright had a shot saved off the line by 09. Sunderland 2, Coventry City 0.
Southampton are going to be making a double change. Here is Dibbling in the centre circle. His ball towards Armstrong's too far ahead of him, goes straight through to Sarr. Let's get an update from Julia Bold at Leeds United.
Yeah, it still Leeds 1, QPR 0. Jayden Bogle with that opener in the first half. But how Leeds have not scored, they're way out in front for possession and shots, but it's still Leeds 1, QPR 0.
Sugawara is going to be coming on, the Japanese defender, and also Ugo Chukwu, who's on loan from Chelsea, as Russell Martin is making a double change as we approach the hour mark. Wolves lead 2-0. Lallana trying to get away from Nori. No foul as Lallana pleads towards the referee. Wolves pick it up in the centre circle. Goal at St Andrews, Pat Murphy. Can't get to Pat just at the moment as the ball goes through. And it will be Ramsdale who'll pick the ball up inside the penalty area away towards our right-hand side. Exeter lead Charlton by a goal to 0. Tranmere 2, Newport County 0. No other goals to tell you about just as yet. But we can now try again with Pat at St Andrews.
Ian, that noise would have told you that Birmingham City have scored. And it's Jay Stansfield who cost a small fortune to come to Birmingham City. Perfect Predators goal, 6 yards out as the ball ricocheted around. The dam has burst at last. Birmingham 1, Northampton 0.
Both those top two sides in League One are leading, and they'll need to as well under pressure from Wrexham, who beat Mansfield earlier. Dibbling with a shot, drifts wide left-hand side, so Wickham and Birmingham will move 4 points clear of Phil Parkinson's side after they beat Nigel Clough's team earlier on today. Burton got their first win, incidentally, beating Shrewsbury by 2-0. Stockport County 4, Bolton 0 is the latest score at Edgeley Park. We'll go back to the Stadium of Light. John Bennett.
I said Coventry were improving second half. They've got a goal. Sunderland 2, Coventry City 1. It's Hadji Wright, his 7th of the season. A low shot inside the box. Game on. Sunderland 2, Coventry 1.
So Sugawara is going to replace Stevens, and Lallana is the player who's going to be coming off for Ugo Chukwu. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, it's looking more like Sugawara will come on and play more as a left back. Just looking at now, he's going over to the right back. They've switched. It's Kyle Walker-Peters who's come over to the left back position. Sugawara going over to the right back, and Ugo Chukwu will sit just in front of them, allowing the forward-thinking players more freedom to press higher up. Fernandez, Aribo and Armstrong and Dibbling all now allowed to press higher up with that little bit of defensive stability behind them in Ugo Chukwu.
I thought the atmosphere here would be rocking today, especially with Wolves leading 2-0, but at times it's felt really strangely subdued.
They've not got used to winning. They don't know what winning's like, Ian. I mean, when you look at it, the stat that we give out, the 27th of April versus Luton was the last time they won a Premier League game. You can almost feel the animosity, the nervousness coming into the stadium, the expectancy of, or the need for a win. You can only begin to imagine how Gary O'Neill felt.
Well, since that win against Luton at home at the end of April, they've lost 5, they've drawn 1. Indeed, they've only had 1 win in 9 home league games. But they are leading by 2-0. It's a win that will lift them off the bottom of the Premier League. Southampton will replace them, and it will at least offer, you would think, a little bit of respite for Gary O'Neill, as Bednarek turns away from Cunha, back to Ramsdale. MK Dons 2, Swindon Town 1 is the latest score in League 2. West Ham Everton, Chris Coles.
Still 0-0, but the best chance of the game has fallen Everton's way. Jesper Lindstrom header, 6 yards, all on his own. Fabianski tipped it over the bar. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
If you've just got home or you're about to get home, of course, you can listen to your smart speaker. All you've got to do is say, play, Radio 5 Live, and hey presto. As a sports report on its way at 5, followed with commentary at the Amex. We'll get the team news of Brighton, Manchester City when we can, as the cross on that far side, the right, goes out of play for a goal kick that Jose Sarr will be in no real hurry to take. Joint worst start to a league season, matching the spell that they had in 1926-27 under Fred Scotchbrook. They won their 11th game that season, and 11th time of asking, they're on course to win here today.
You've got some stats, Hugh, haven't you? I mean, you never fail to surprise me on a Saturday afternoon with some of the stats and names that you pull out of. I don't think anybody's going to question that one, Ian.
Well, a name like Fred Scotchbrook is one not to waste, I can tell you. Norwich City 0, Bristol City 2 is the latest score in the Championship. Crawley 2, Huddersfield Town 1. Lincoln City have equalised at Bristol Rovers, also in League 1. Bristol Rovers 1, Lincoln 1. 62 minutes played. And news of that goal at Carrow Road, Mark Webber.
Where it's Norwich City 0, Bristol City 2. Nahki Wells with his 5th goal of the season, given enough room in the area to tap home. Good strike. Norwich City 0, Bristol City 2.
Southampton looking for a foothold back in this game, trailing by 2-0. Walker-Peters plays the ball forward. The turn from Ugo Chukwu. Out then to Walker-Peters, who switched to this near side, the left now, with Sugawara playing on that right-hand side. Ugo Chukwu delivers the ball in towards the penalty area with a high scoop, might drop towards Aribo. João Gomez will run it clear for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Walsall 0, Crewe 1 is the latest score in League 2. Let's check in the rugby. Chris Jones.
18, Australia 20, no points in the second half. England going to the boot to play some territory, lacking accuracy. Wallabies looking dangerous. They've got confidence and belief. They've not won here since 2015. England 18, Australia 20, half an hour to go.
Bellegarde with a cross, too deep. They'll be picked up on that far side by Aribo. The thing is that Southampton in the first half saw a lot of the ball, and it looked like they were knocking on the door. You don't necessarily sense here that they're putting Wolves under the same amount of pressure.
No, the changes that they've made, they haven't settled yet. That is obviously the formation change as well to a back four, which is something that they're not used to playing as well. The personnel changes, they aren't effective in possession as they were in the first half, which will be good for Wolves. But we're entering a stage in the game now, 26, 25 minutes or so left. Wolves are at a real turning point. Do they just sit off and allow Southampton the possession? Do they try and protect what they've got, game management, try and break things down? But if they do that, they run the risk of conceding a goal. And a team fragile on confidence like Wolves, if they concede a goal in the next 10 or 15 minutes, there's a long way to that final whistle.
Crawley 2, Huddersfield 2 is the latest score in League 1. Accrington Stanley have got a second goal at Chesterfield, previously undefeated in 8, but Chesterfield are behind there. Chesterfield 0, Accrington Stanley 2. Let's get the team news from the Amex, John Murray.
Just one change for Brighton. Adingra is in for the absent Kadioglu, so Ayari is fit to start, and the returning João Pedro and O'Reilly are substitutes. And for Manchester City from Lisbon, 2 changes. Akanji and Bernardo Silva are only substitutes, as is De Bruyne again. It's Walker and Gundogan who come in. So 19-year-old Simpson Pusey will make his Premier League debut today. Alongside, it would appear, Gvardiol in central defence.
Yes, he started in midweek, didn't he, in Lisbon. That's going to be an interesting game, that Brighton against Manchester City. Steve Sidwell is alongside John Murray, commentary after Sports Report, as here Southampton trailing 2-0 have a free kick, central position, midway through the Wolverhampton Wanderers half. Fernandes is to take it. Wolves, very, very quiet Molineux. Right-footed, delivers it deep inside the penalty area. Sarr drops the ball on landing and has actually fallen quite awkwardly. Might have damaged his shoulder in the process. The referee stops play. We'll go to Brentford-Bournemouth. John Southall.
Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2, should be 4 though. Brian Mbeumo unmarked, 12 yards out, running onto it, put it over the bar. Expected him to score that. Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2.
Dundee United 2, Ross County 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. We'll go to Crystal Palace now. Henry Moran.
Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1. Should be a second for Fulham. Pereira and then Jimenez with good opportunities that have been missed. Palace 0, Fulham 1.
And we'll stay in the capital, Chris Coles.
Everton 0, Everton looking bright. If a goal is going to come, you'd think it's going to come for Sean Dyche's side. A triple change for West Ham. Soler, Ings and Soufal are all on. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
31,403 is the attendance inside Molineux today. Sarr has stayed down. Looked an awkward one, didn't it?
Yeah, it was an awkward one. He made a bit of a mess of the cross, but he collided with his own defender, Santiago Bueno. The goalkeeper takes it really high, but Santiago Bueno just knocks him off balance as he's in the air, and he comes down and he lands ball first, which then folds his right arm under his body, and it looks like he's either put his shoulder out or he's done something to his shoulder. This certainly isn't a game management. Sam Johnson's out on the touchline warming up. Looks quite a nasty one for Sarr. Looks like he's in pain with his right shoulder.
You're not missing any of the action then as Sarr continues to get treatment, and we'll pay a visit to Chris Jones.
It might be that Australia have scored a try to take a 7-point lead. Lock Jeremy Williams with a brilliant finish is a foot in touch. The officials are taking an age over this. England 18, Australia 20, but it could be England 18, Australia 25. It is such a close call.
We had 6 minutes of added on time due to the stoppages in the first half. This is a lengthy interruption as Sarr continues to get treatment there. MK Dons 3, Swindon 1 is a latest score. And we'll get news of Wigan Wycombe from Betty Glover.
Still Wigan 0, Wycombe 1. Wigan, who without a win in their last 4, by the way, have come out after the break with way more attacking intent. Boss Sean Maloney has opted to bring on a striker. Del Taylor's come on, he's looking dangerous. He nearly got onto the end of the cross, sliding in, but his touch sent the ball over the bar. It's woken Wycombe up a little bit. It's Wigan 0, Wycombe 1.
The checking on the movement of the left shoulder of Sarr. Doncaster Notts County's our featured game in League 2. Naz Premji.
Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1. A couple of Donny chances. Jay McGrath with a header, and just a few minutes ago Luke Molyneux with a low drive which was saved by Bass. Doncaster Rovers 0, Notts County 1.
Southampton are heading towards their worst start to a league season in their history, because they picked up 4 points in both 93-94 and the campaign of 12-13. But Ian Branfoot, when he was in charge in 93-94, they drew their 11th game, as they did actually under Nigel Adkins in 12-13. They survived, incidentally, both of those 2 seasons. They'll hope to survive here, but 4 points from a possible 11 games. As Sarr is back on the field of play, and we're back underway after that lengthy stoppage. But Wolves lead by 2-0 midway through the second half. St Andrews now, Birmingham, Northampton, Pat Murphy.
Still 1-0 Birmingham, they can breathe a little bit easier. Stansfield, who scored that opportunist goal, went close just a couple of minutes later with a left foot shot just wide. Northampton about to bring on the 5th substitutes of this second half. Birmingham 1, Northampton 0.
Wolves are going to be making a change, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the goalkeeper. He's whirling both arms around at the moment. It's going to be Gedesh who's going to be coming on for Wolverhampton Wanderers, still leading by 2-0. Chesterfield 0, Accrington Stanley 3 is the latest score in League 2. Southampton playing out at the back at the moment. Harwood Bellis is cut out, and it goes out for a throw off the legs of Cunha. Back to Chris Jones watching England-Australia.
Try given, perhaps controversially, but the officials happy, and Australia lead by 7, and they're breaking out the game, the Wallabies. They've got England on the rack here. England 18, Australia 25. It might sit up for the Wallabies. They have it in the English 22, and England are going to have to come from behind with 28 minutes to go. England 18, Australia 25.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra as Southampton attack on that right-hand side. Aribo on the stretch. Wolves will clear. Doesn't appear to be any jeopardy in this game whatsoever.
No, none whatsoever. And the atmosphere is very, very strange, isn't it? There's a nervousness amongst the home fans. Nobody's leaving the seat. Nobody's moving from the lucky position. I think everyone's thinking the superstition, if I'm the one to move it, we might concede a goal. It really is that tense inside Molyneux.
Gedesh waits to come on. Wolverhampton Wanderers are looking to make the changes. Southampton have a throw on the right-hand side. Leighton Orient got a second goal. Leighton Orient 2, Blackpool 0. And news of a goal at Doncaster from Naz Premji.
Doncaster 1, Notts County 1. Cross in from the left. Joe Ironside headed past keeper Bass. Doncaster 0, Notts County 1.
It'll be Strand Larsen who's going to be coming off, but I think they're going to wait and just use the aerial advantage of the big Norwegian international for this free kick. I don't think he's fully recovered from that dead leg he picked up in the first half. But Southampton 2-0 down, have a free kick, delivered in now, and bounces away off a Wolves shirt. And referee Thomas Bramall actually says that will be a corner kick. So I'd imagine that Strand Larsen will once again be utilised as a defensive option, as Southampton are going to be looking to bring on Paul Onuachu, the tall Nigerian international, the target man, in an attempt to try and get something from this game. But second half, I'll be honest, they just do not look like scoring. Don't seem to, if they've had anywhere near the same level of possession as they had in the first half, they've been toothless. Corner kick though for Southampton. It's a high one that is swung over from that right-hand side. Ugochukwu tries to hook it back goalwards. The block comes in, and it will go out of play for a Southampton throw on the left-hand side that they take quickly. Wolves leading 2-0. 18 minutes remaining of normal time. Wolves get a free kick. Chance at West Ham. Who to? Chris Coles.
To West Ham. They've hit the post. Crescencio Somerville took it really well on the edge of the penalty area. Difficult ball to control. His left foot shot beat Pickford and hit the inside of the post. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Strand Larsen is going to be replaced, but he's gone to ground as Southampton look to make a change. It will be Gedesh who's going to come on for him. We'll go to Fratton Park in the Championship. Paul Scott.
Still Portsmouth 2, Preston 1. It is nervy around these parts as Portsmouth go in search of their first home win of the season. Emil Reese's goal at the start of the second half, though, has put Preston right back in this contest. Portsmouth 2, Preston 1.
Looks like it's going to be a double change. Brereton Diaz and Onachu are going to be coming on for Southampton. Back to the rugby, Chris Jones.
England 18, Australia 28. The Wallabies lead at 10. Another neat Lolaseo penalty, and with 25 to go, England have to react. They need something from their replacements as Smith tries to make a break. England 18, Australia 28.
So Aribo is one of the players to come off. They need something to change, don't they, Southampton?
I think there's an argument, though, Ian. You look at the starting 11. Granted, he had to change the starting 11 just before kick-off for the injury to Flynn Downs. But actually, if you count Aribo, you look at the changes that he's made, there's 6 changes within just, 72 minutes. So the 11 that he thought was good enough to go out and win this game, he's changed the formation and he's made 6 personnel changes within the space of 70 minutes, which has disrupted the flow of this Southampton team. Because at the end of the first half, they were in the ascendancy. They did everything but score a goal.
Good point. Onuachu has come on to replace Archer. He was on loan at Trabzonspor last season. Had a prolific season, actually. 15 goals he scored in 21 appearances. And Brereton Diaz has come on for Aribo. So they are the 2 changes as Southampton look for a way back in. But time is running out. But they are on the attack now with Dibbling. It's a forward ball that Brereton Diaz will chase. Wolves will see it out. It goes out for a throw over on that far side. It's taken quickly. Dibbling in the midfield, trying to roll away from João Gomez. The ball is played back towards Bednarek inside the centre circle. Wolves now go and press. In the first half, that might not necessarily have been the case. They would have retreated.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill's out there trying to get his back 5 up the pitch because there's a big gap there. And Gedesh, who's just come on, he was starting to close the Southampton defenders down high up in their own half. But his own back 5 were deep in his own. They need to be closer together as a unit. And that's the message Gary O'Neill's trying to get onto his team now.
Leyton Orient 3, Blackpool 0 is the latest score in League One. And it's going to be a corner kick for Southampton. I just wonder if we've got time to squeeze in another report from somewhere before the corner as Dibbling ambles his way over on that far side as they play from right to left. Dibbling just pulling up his adjusting his socks. He's like a Jack Grealish. He never has them pulled up. Does the youngster in his second spell after they re-signed him from Chelsea's youth system. So he waits to take the corner kick. 2-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Quarter of an hour remains. Dibbling, in it comes now, in swinger, off the head of Dawson, and behind and out for another corner kick, which Southampton will want to take quickly on this near side to try and maintain the pressure. After this, we're going to Selhurst Park, where there have been developments. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1 was the latest from Selhurst Park. Southampton 2-0 down, corner kick near side the left, doesn't beat the first man, but it bounces off Semedo.
It's nervy, isn't it? You can see those Wolves defenders, they've got everybody back almost inside the 6-yard box, this Wolverhampton Wanderers team. They have been really susceptible from set plays. They've conceded a lot of goals. It's something that they're really trying to work hard on to cut out of the game. But Southampton have had a number of corners today.
Corner kick again on the left. Everyone is back inside the penalty area for Wolves. Doesn't beat the first man again. So to Selhurst Park, Henry Moran.
Fulham still leading by a goal to 0, but now Crystal Palace down to 10 men. Daichi Kamada sent off for a wild lunge on Kenny Tete. No hesitation from Michael Salisbury, the referee. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 1, Palace down to 10.
Ambitious effort at goal there as it came towards Bellegarde, because Ramsdale was well out of his penalty area. He had to hit it first time, but Gary O'Neill is getting more and more animated.
He's almost joining the press, isn't he? It's gone out for a goal kick. Bellegarde hits it harmlessly wide, but actually Gary O'Neill's trying to get his defence, trying to get his midfield. He wants them to press this Southampton goal kick high up the field. He doesn't want them to be so deep. He wants the high press. He's going absolutely ballistic down below. He wants his team up the field. He doesn't want them sitting back.
Oh no, actually the target man tries to switch play out towards that right hand side. Fernandes is available. Sugawara will play it out towards him, but it's closed down by João Gomes, out for a throw. Chances at Brentford, John Southall.
Yeah, Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2, 2 for Christian Norgard, 2 shots, the first deflected, saved by Kepa, the second a 20-yarder, there was Kepa again. You just sense there's another goal in this one. Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2.
Wolves lead here by 2-0 as the ball is stroked out towards that far side. Fernandes for Southampton midway through the Wolves half. His cross in towards the penalty area, cleared away by Santiago Bueno with a right-footed volley. Oguchukwu running back. Southampton will try and play it out towards the right-hand side once again, but Wolves are pressing better, and now all of a sudden there's been a turnover in play. Here is Guedes. Ooh, that was a little bit late by Oguchukwu, who caught him just a fraction there. Here is Semedo on that far side. Bellegarde now trying to get the better of Walker-Peters, now playing as a left-back. And then Wolves go back to Semedo, and they're just trying to see this game out, leading 2-0. England, Australia, Chris Jones.
England needed to respond, they have. They've scored a try. Neat grubber, Marcus Smith. Ollie Slight home in for his first test try. England 23, Australia 28. Grandstand finish to come.
And you can hear it on Sports Extra. So, 12 minutes remaining. Someone's just been shown a yellow card. That was Walker-Peters who's been shown a yellow.
It was Bellegarde, wasn't it? Sorry, it was Bellegarde doing really, really well for his team. Just held the ball up in front of Walker-Peters. You can see that his team were just under a little bit of pressure, but he's worked hard, Bellegarde, since he's come on. Ran across the line in front of that Southampton back four, tried to hold up possession, and he wins his team an invaluable free kick at this stage of the game.
Delaying the restart with a flick away of the ball. So on his 200th club appearance of his career, Walker-Peters has been booked. Latest scores in Scotland: Dundee United 2, Ross County 0, Hibs 0, St Mirren 2. So Hibs still bottom of the table. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1, Aberdeen Dundee, as Aberdeen still unbeaten, joint top with Celtic. We'll have reports from Kenny Crawford from that game at 5:30 at Pittodrie. Into our next commentary here on BBC Radio 5 Live of Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. But here at Molineux with just over 10 minutes remaining, Wolves lead 2-0, showing a bit of fight there in the midfield. Aït-Nouri though doesn't get the free kick that he wanted. Brereton Diaz with the back heel, it runs out of play and out for a throw. In League 2 then, the two results: Harrogate 1, Morecambe 2. Only Morecambe's second win of the season in League 2. They remain bottom. Salford 0, Carlisle United 1. That's the reason they remain bottom. Carlisle are next to bottom. Latest scores: Wimbledon 0, Grimsby 1, Barrow 1, Colchester 0, Cheltenham 1, the 10 men of Bromley 1, Chesterfield 0, Accrington Stanley 3. The end, it would seem, of Chesterfield's 8-match unbeaten run. Doncaster 1, Notts County 1, Fleetwood lead Bradford City by a 1-0. The leaders are being held at Priestfield. Gillingham 0, Port Vale 0, MK Dons 3, Swindon 1, Tranmere 2, Newport County 0 and Walsall 0, Crewe 1. The latest scores. So Notts County will move second, but Port Vale will still have a 4-point advantage at the top of the table. Latest scores in League 1 of the Championship to come as Walker-Peters is fouled by Bellegarde. The two results in League 1 earlier: Burton 2, Shrewsbury 0, first win of the season for Burton, and Wrexham beat Mansfield Town by a 0-0. Latest scores: Birmingham 1, Northampton 0. They won't be going top because Wickham are leading as well. I'll get to that in a minute. Bristol Rovers 1, Lincoln 1, Crawley 2, Huddersfield 2, Exeter lead Charlton by a 0-0. Leyton Orient 3, Blackpool 0, Peterborough hammering Cambridge 5-0, Stevenage 1, Reading 1, Stockport County 4, Bolton 0, and Wycombe Wanderers still leading at Wigan by a 0-0, which would be a 7th straight win in all competitions and unbeaten in 12 in League 1. Southampton now with Fernandes. Coming across was Bellegarde. No foul, says the referee. Tries to play the advantage. Now we'll bring it back for the free kick on Fernandes. Good refereeing, I thought.
This is getting tense. You see the two managers below us. One of us wanting the free kick. Gary O'Neill now in the official's ear. Why has that free kick been given? He believes that the play had moved on so far and the advantage was gone. It was wasted by Southampton. We are entering a really tense last 10 minutes plus a good chunk of added time at the end of this game. What can Southampton find? For all the nice football, they've reverted now. Diaz has gone up front with Uenachu and they're going direct. They're going long. They're playing almost a 4-4-2 and going very, very long into the two orthodox strikers with Armstrong playing off them.
Reading have got an equaliser at Stevenage. Mentioned Cheltenham 1, Bromley 1, Newport County have got a goal back, Tranmere 2, Newport County 1. There's been a goal elsewhere in the Premier League. I'll tell you where after this free kick for Southampton that Walker-Peters stands over to take. With time running out for Southampton, who trail 2-0. They work it short. Sugawara plays the ball back. Hit now by Bednarek. Hit a waste by Southampton. The goal is at Selhurst Park, but who to? Henry.
That should be the points for Fulham. Palace 0, Fulham 2. He scored 2 in added time off the bench earlier in the week. Harry Wilson scores. Virtually his first touch, low finish beyond Henderson. Palace 0, Fulham 2.
Sunderland were 2-0 up at home to Coventry City. However, John Bennett.
What a comeback. This is by managerless Coventry City. Sunderland 2, Coventry 2. Sakamoto's cross headed in by Rudoni. They've been excellent second half. Sunderland 2, Coventry 2.
Rhys Carr is the interim manager after that surprise sacking of Mark Robinson in midweek. A stumble by Dibbling. Onto it now. Wolverhampton Wanderers with a cross there from Gedesh out towards Bellegarde. Battles for the ball right hand side of the penalty area. Bellegarde looks for a shooting opportunity, works over the cross. In fact, it hits the side netting, and that will be a goal kick. We'll stay in the Championship. The 3 results earlier: Cardiff 1, Blackburn 3. Middlesbrough hammering Luton by 5-1. Stoke 1, Millwall 1 was a full-time score as well in one of the other 12:30 games. Latest scores: Derby 1, Plymouth 1, Leeds United 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Norwich City 0, Bristol City 2, Portsmouth 2, Preston 1, and Sunderland 2, Coventry 2, as we've just heard about. No other goals elsewhere around to tell you about. 7 minutes remaining, and Wolves are on course for their first win of the season. There's never been in the top flight a season where multiple clubs have been winless after 11 games. Ipswich Town travel to Spurs tomorrow. Commentary of that you can hear on the BBC Sport website. One of our 6 Premier League commentaries over the weekend. Paul.
Yeah, this game you feel is a really crucial point for both sides now. Southampton have to go for this. You know, the possession that they had in the first half, they don't look anything like the side that they were at the end of the first half, where they were pressing, had the chances, and they were the better team. Wolves have come out in the second half, a different mentality. Obviously the second goal has helped them, but they've played a lot better than they did in the first half, and they're just struggling to find any kind of rhythm, Southampton. They don't know whether to stick to the normal game plan or lump it long forward like they are doing now. There's a real mix and contrast of styles, and they just aren't finding the right solution, the Saints.
Onuachu with a foul on Dawson. Penalty at Fratton Park, Paul Scott.
In the 89th minute, Portsmouth have a chance to seal the deal here. They lead 2-1. It's Colby Bishop, his first appearance of the season after heart surgery in the summer. He steps up and scores for Portsmouth. That might just be their first home win of the season. Pompey 3, Preston 1.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Paul, but Paul Robinson, not Paul Scott, that is. Jose Sarr hasn't been overworked today, has he?
No, and you're very rarely wrong. I very rarely have to correct you, but on the odd occasion I was prepared then just in case. But no, he hasn't really had a save to make, apart from that disallowed Southampton goal in the first half. Listen, they were so much the better team in the first half, but you've got to give Gary O'Neill and Wolves a lot of credit for what they've done. But again, I think Russell Martin he's tinkered too much. The 6 changes, the in-game changes, the formation changes, and they're trying to get back into this game now. There's half of the team still wanting to play out from the back. There's half that realise the time and the game situation and are lumping it forward and playing long. They do look a little bit disjointed. They're looking to try and find a solution, but there's no cohesion between them.
Peterborough United 5, Cambridge 1. Consolation for Cambridge. The leaders in League 2, Port Vale, have fallen behind. Unbeaten in 10, Darren Moore's side. But Gillingham are leading Port Vale now by 1-0. 5 minutes to go to half-time. And Wolves are leading by 2-0 here at Molineux, against this Southampton side who will be going bottom of the Premier League. Sliding across on that far side was Totti to prevent it from reaching Brereton Diaz. Southampton have a throw, but they're in no real hurry to take it. Just don't look like scoring. Any chance of the deadlock being broken at West Ham? Chris Coles.
West Ham continue to come close. Danny Ings has had their latest opportunity, the second half sub. Great touch inside the penalty area to give him space to shoot. It was saved well by Pickford to his right. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Free kick to Southampton midway through the Wolverhampton half, playing from right to left as we look on this cold, now dark evening here at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers have got a line of those golden shirts outside their penalty area, in front of that towering Stan Cullis stand away towards our left-hand side. Stockport County 5, Bolton Wanderers 0 is the latest score. As the ball comes in off the head of Onuachu, it will be easily dealt with by Lamina. Doesn't clear immediately, waits for his options. His forward ball, though, goes astray. Southampton pick it up. Walker-Peters passes the ball forward. But whilst they've been pretty and easy on the eye, in the final third.
And as much as they haven't looked like scoring, though, all of a sudden what a goal could do for them now. I mean, we're entering literally the last echelons, the last knock-ins of this game, but we're going to have such a big chunk of stoppage time. 7 substitutions, Jose Sarr, the goalkeeper, down for a long time. Treatment for players. If Southampton were to get one now, the atmosphere would become extremely nervy here inside Molineux.
It would, bearing in mind that their last clean sheet, Wolverhampton Wanderers, was against Sheffield United at the end of February. Here Southampton are attacking, but Totti is tucked in to clear the ball away. They've gone 22 games without a clean sheet. It's their worst run in 12 years. As now they go in search of the ball inside the centre circle. Harwood Bellis out towards Dibbling on that far side. Then it's worked to Sugawara. Passes the ball forward to Dibbling, easily coming across once again. Was Totti out of play? It goes for a throw.
Worked hard, Totti, hasn't he, on that far left-hand side, dropping in the left full-back in the 5. Worked extremely hard, puts in some really timely tackles, and they've still got a lot of work to do, Wolves, to get to the final whistle.
Southampton are the only team who are yet to pick up a single point when they've conceded first this season. And they're on course for what would be a 7th defeat after conceding the opening goal as they trail by 2-0. 2 minutes remaining. Rodrigo Gomez is going to be coming on for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's only had the one Premier League start. That was actually against Arsenal on the opening day, the 21-year-old forward. St Johnstone have got an injury time equaliser at Motherwell. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 2. Commentary of Brighton, Manchester City coming up at 5:30 after Sports Report. We'll try and bring you as much live reaction and all the results in Sports Report with Mark Chapman as we can before that 5:30 game at the Amex. I'm sure that Gary O'Neill will be extremely relieved, as here Ugo Chukwu is going to go into the book for a lunge on Guedes. He is shown yellow by Thomas Bramall. But there is no pressure at all on Wolverhampton Wanderers at the moment. There might be a little bit of anxiety, but time is slowly ticking away in favour of the home team.
It's a good free kick to win for his team. It's all about possession now for Wolves in key areas. This now is game management. This is seeing the game out, holding possession in key areas, winning free kicks, being as stop-start as you can between now and the end of the game, making no apologies for getting to the final whistle.
Just seeing the game out. Who's seeing the game out in the rugby? Chris Jones.
Oh, England are now leading. They've scored a try. Ollie Slidehome in the corner again, sparked by Marcus Smith, and then Smith had to kick the conversion, and he has. England 30, Australia 28, 11 captivating minutes on the way.
Cunha is the player who's going off, and he's going off on the far side of the pitch. Commentary that is on Sports Extra, incidentally, as Rodrigo Gomez comes on. Cunha with that fine goal that took away a lot of the jeopardy when he let one fly. Certainly worth seeing on Match of the Day tonight at 11 o'clock on BBC One, as Dundee United have got a third goal against Ross County. Dundee 3, Ross County 0, but that St Johnstone injury time equaliser from Jack Sanders has been ruled out, and Motherwell still leads St Johnstone by 2-1, as here one of the coaching staff has been shown a yellow card by the referee Thomas Bramall for speaking out of turn to the 4th official. Peterborough 6, Cambridge United 1 in League One, and another goal at Ellen Road. Julia Bowl.
Yes, it's now Leeds at 2, QPR 0. Top scorer Joel Pirro came on as a substitute and has given Leeds what looks like a secure 3 points. Leeds 2, QPR 0.
That's a noise that you know very, very well as we cross to Julia there, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. A sleeping giant, if you like. And that championship, they'll be looking to get out of that league, and it'll be a massive win, especially after last midweek result against Millwall.
We're into 6 minutes of added on time here at Molineux, with Wolves leading Southampton by 2-0. as almost they give the ball away inside the penalty area. Goal at Selhurst Park, Henry Moran.
Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 3. Harry Wilson's come off the bench and scored another 2 goals. Ball in from Adama, finish at the back post. Palace 0, Fulham 3.
Wolves are attacking left-hand side of the penalty area. Cross to Bellegarde, couldn't apply the finishing touch. It was like Gazza in Euro 96 all those years ago as he just threw himself at it inside the 6-yard area.
What a visual. That's a perfect description. Aït-Nouri gets to the byline, cuts it across, and Bellegarde so agonisingly close with the bottom of his studs, just couldn't get there. Aït-Nouri, you think he's just going to run it into the corner. He's got different ideas. Bursts into the box, blasts it across the 6-yard box, and Bellegarde agonisingly just can't get a touch on it.
A chance at West Ham, Chris Coles.
Jordan Pickford has rescued a point for Everton. Danny Ings inside the penalty area, right foot shot. Pickford with a brilliant save to tip it over the bar, and that's the final act. It's finished. West Ham 0, Everton 0.
Brereton Diaz coming forward, picked up off his toes there by the goalkeeper, Jose Sarr. Sunderland 2, Coventry 2 they're still playing at the Stadium of Light. Leeds United have beaten Queen's Park Rangers, so they will move second. Within 2 points of Sunderland. Sheffield United, of course, involved in the Steel City derby tomorrow afternoon, as no other latest scores to tell you about elsewhere around the country. But we've got 4 minutes remaining of injury time. Wolverhampton Wanderers still leading by 2 goals to 0, as a free kick is given away by Geresh on Dibbling, taken quickly. Ugo Chukwu. Ruben Neves once again is being serenaded by the Wolves supporters. They're preparing to celebrate now, although hold on. Brereton Diaz with a shot inside the penalty area that is blocked. Wolves should tidy this one up. And in our featured game in League 2, Naz Premji, it's finished.
Doncaster Rovers 1, Notts County 1. Alessandra Jeddah with a first half header for County. Joe Ironside's header level things up here for the home side. Doncaster Rovers 1, Notts County 1.
Southampton have the ball with Harwood Bellis. Hibs, bottom of the table, have got a goal back in injury time at Easter Road, but they're still trailing. Hibs 1, St Mirren 2. Colchester United have got an injury time equaliser at Barrow. Barrow 1, Colchester United 1 in League 2. 3 minutes remaining. Southampton have the ball midway through the Wolves half, trying to set up a late finish as we head our way towards Sports Report. Cross comes in from the right hand side. This now is Brereton Diaz able to turn, left corner of the area. Dibbling playing in front of Wolves. João Gomez tries to close him down. Dibbling goes down inside the penalty area. Wolves, though, will clear, and their penalty appeals are waved away. Back to Crystal Palace, Henry Moran.
It remains Palace 0, Fulham 2. That goal for Wilson disallowed for handball.
So thank you. That remains then with Palace. Still, well, they're going to heading for yet another defeat, with Fulham leading by 2 goals to 0, Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2. West Ham Everton has finished, that is 0-0, that's a result, and Wolves here lead by 2 goals to 0. Sports Report on its way, 2 minutes remaining. Doherty's going to be coming on for Wolves. This is just purely to play up time. Julia Bold at Ellen Road.
Finished Leeds 2, QPR 0. Jayden Bogle and Joel Piroe, the men on target. QPR didn't have a single shot on target and are now bottom of the championship. It's finished at a very noisy Ellen Road. Leeds 2, QPR 0.
12 without a win for Queen's Park Rangers. Doherty, who's been an unused substitute for the last 6 games, is going to come on literally for the last 90 seconds. And he's going to replace Aït-Nouri for a Wolverhampton Wanderers side that is finally going to get up and running for their Premier League campaign.
You would think so. Surely not even Wolves' poor run of form. They can throw this one away. And a rare clean sheet at the risk of tempting fate for Gary O'Neill and his team. It's a huge result for Wolves if it does stay like this. They've been a lot better in the second half. They really have. Southampton dominated the game in the first half. But as you say, it's a massive win for Gary O'Neill. Relieves a huge amount of pressure going into an international break.
Hibs have actually come from 2-0 down and are now levelled at 2-2 at Easter Road in the Scottish Premiership. Hibs 2, St Mirren 2. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 2 is also a result in the Premier League. So Crystal Palace finishing that game with 10 men, 7 points, just outside the relegation zone. Because of the goal difference, there was never any chance of being replaced by Southampton today, but instead Southampton are going in the opposite direction. They are going to the bottom of the table, with Wolves replacing them as they trail by 2 goals to 0. Dibbling with a cross from the left hand side, Totti actually got there in front of Jose Sarr to head it away. Southampton still pressing, but again, just don't look like scoring. I keep repeating myself, but they don't. They're toothless.
Yeah, they run out of ideas. I mean, the possession's been great in front of this Wolverhampton Wanderers defensive line and midfield line, but then when they get into the final third again, Diblin puts the ball into the box, straight into the goalkeeper's hands. The creativity and the ideas around the box haven't been there.
And there is the full-time whistle, and Wolverhampton Wanderers, at the 11th time of asking, have got their first win in this Premier League campaign. You can certainly feel the relief. They are off the bottom of the table to be replaced by Southampton. They've beaten them by 2-0. Paul Robinson.
Absolutely massive result for Gary O'Neill. You can see him below us with his coaching staff. The relief around Molineux is incredible. It was a really tense atmosphere in the stadium today. Neither side really took the game by the scruff of the neck. Southampton much the better side in the first half. I think Russell Martin was guilty of shuffling his pack too much. The amount of substitutions he made, the personnel changes, changing formation a couple of times within the game, they almost ended up devoid of ideas. Southampton toothless. You can see why they're the lowest scorers in the Premier League. Never looked like hurting Wolves really, other than that disallowed goal in the first half. Never created any chances. Comfortable afternoon for Jose Sarr, but a massive afternoon for Gary O'Neill and his Wolverhampton Wanderers side.
A quick goal and a cracking goal. Sarabia inside 2 minutes, and then Cunha 6 minutes into the second half. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Southampton 0.